Well, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I am Rhonda, and I'm from Texas. Welcome to Ron's Lovely Sparks. I am so excited. I'm hearing some back noise. I mean, I love my voice, but geesh, I don't want to hear a doubling of it. Hello, beautiful people. I am so glad to see you. Shout out to Tracy Lee Williamson, who hit the chat room first. Hello. I have a very special, intimate, personal, very personal experience that ended up waking me up tonight. And I'd like to share that with you. And it was so powerful that it woke me up. And actually, my husband, when he was in the bed with me, he put his hand on my side and said, "You're okay. It's okay. I'm right here for you." I don't recall having one of those in a very, very long time. My spirit and my soul is opening up more. And what's contributing to that is movies. It's opening up places that I have either suppressed or oppressed. And I've been praying to God to help me find answers. And trust me, I've been getting the answers since I've been retired and been resting more and healing and restoring. I've been getting more answers. Hi, Lola. Lola, hot sauce. That's my beautiful sister. Oh, I've been thinking about you today too. And want to remind you and let you know how much I'm so grateful about the cherries and that I'm definitely going to do work on something very special, uh, dedicated to you, Lola. Just a video to you and showing and also journaling um, the gifts that you bought me and sharing how what you've contributed to my spirit and soul. And I just want to do a video about that. So stay tuned. um, and then Tracy says scary. And then Lola says, "Hey, Rhonda." And Tracy Lee says, "Mine would being alone and scared and sleep with light on." What my dreams are so interesting is that my dreams tell the truth. Those are what my dreams are. They tell me the truth. I'm able to find the truth also through my dreams. But one thing I think it's honest, it tells the truth about my character. I can't fantasize and be a hoe in my dreams. I'm just saying, a whole nother live, I would tell you how I've been able to cross over into my dreams and really try to tap into me controlling what I'm doing in the dream, and it's very nasty, but it's too much. One time I've been able, maybe twice, I've been able to do that. But something I don't toy around with, you know, because I do believe in dreams. I believe in my search, my answers, my my ability to really relate them and try to find understanding as to how it relates to my life. And I'm going to do some storytelling about this dream at the end of what my thoughts are about me and my dreams. I'm going to share those thoughts with you first. And then I'm going to take you through the actual dream. And I'm so amazed because usually I'm not able to wake up and remember the dream. This one, I can. But usually I'm not able to remember them. It's why I said, well, let me go on live. And it's so strange because I've been afraid that if I don't make a note of it, I'm going to forget it. And what's so amazing is that I remember it very vividly and I haven't forgotten the dream. There's something in my eye. I don't understand that. Sorry. I'm not trying to do eye ASMR. Oh, just I've been trying to struggle with that whatever is in my eye before I was on live. It's like, what? Hello, Miss Tiara. Hello, my beautiful. Some too scary to remember. When I've been able to, my sister-in-law is in the room, Miss TR. Miss TR, I loved your new name for your channel, Miss TR with Urban Economics. Isn't that amazing how we evolve with our ideas? But I'm going to share with you how I've been able to identify my process in my dreams and who I am. And then after I finish this, I'm going to share with you my real dream. And I wanted to share that other with you first so you can tie into what I'm talking about and who I am and to the actual dream. Believe it or not, I still remember that dream. I've been afraid to look at the TV or do anything else that could get me to forget, but I remember it. Hey, Alice Galloway. Hey, Alice says she's popping by. We'll be back. Get a doubleheader basketball games tonight. Yes. Next one is at 3:30 a.m. Corinne Galloway and Carn. Did I say it right? Carnes Tapins with Carnes Tapins. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Oh, love you too, baby. I love you too, Alice. My cousin, yes, my cousin, my husband's cousin, she's mine too. Since I got married, his family is my family. Yes, I'm so happy to have a family like that. Oh, I'm serious. When I express myself, I'm serious. Shout out to Daydream. Hi there, Aunt Rhonda. Oh, hello, my sweet niece. I have probably one I love my videos that I put together because all of my videos are spiritually connected to my gut feelings, to my inner feelings. I have something really special to share with you all tonight. It's my dream. The dream was so heavy that I ended up shouting out loud, "Help!" And I remember why. I'm going to share that with you toward the end. And it was so loud, my husband reached his hand over to comfort me. And he said, "Everything is okay, Rhonda." And he rubbed my side. He's like, "Everything is okay." In real life. And when he did that for me, I felt an instant calm that guess what? I was still not in the dream. He helped me get out of that dream, and when he touched me and gave me reassurance, it helped me feel like I was in a safe place. So I'm gonna share that with y'all. And I'm gonna wipe my nose. You know, I don't like wiping my nose where you all can see me. So I'm gonna like lean over. I'm gonna lean over and clean my nose. I mean, just dab it. Just a little dab of do you? Because I have modesty. I don't believe in doing this while I'm live on cam. I'm back. Make sure I'm clean. Oh, let's do a little bit more here. Oh. The time, Miss Tiara. Um, this is 1 o'clock right now. 11:30, something like that, between 11:30. Hey, Nigel Lista 90s and Daydream 1990s. Those are my nieces. Yes, they support me every day. I love you. I love you. I love you. Yeah, I had a nightmare. I had a nightmare. I woke up. I said, I'm going to go live. I'm going to read to you about my feelings of this nightmare that I had. And then I'm going to, at the end of that, tell you the actual things, the story, my true story about the walk in my dream tonight, because it was so vivid. I can still remember it. I can still remember it. What's amazing is that I can still remember it. What's amazing is that even though I've been retired, what, maybe 5 years, 4 years, I really didn't feel the benefit of being retired my until this year, because I was still working, I was still busy, I still had anxiety, I was still in that routine in my head, right? It took me years. With that being said, it's that after it's taken me years, this year has been my year when I've been able to sleep and rest without guilt, because I grew up with parents making me feel guilty. I grew up on a farm. I got up early. That's why I today indulge in a lot of television, a lot of movie watch parties. It's my cherry on top. It's because my whole life I worked myself to death. I don't blame my parents in a negative way. It was the times. But I do have some things I'm going to share where I don't know if I've blamed them today, but today I can identify why in my dream that I identified it as being parent neglect. And I'm gonna allow you all to definitely dissect this as we work toward the end of this. I don't think it would call for child protective services at that time to be called on them. It wasn't that kind of neglect. It was a kind of neglect that my voice wasn't heard. And I'm going to break this down for you as follows. Thank you and welcome everyone to Rhonda's Lovely Sparks. I'm Rhonda. Welcome. How are y'all doing today? Thank you for being here. Again, I want to share that my husband heard me scream out. The movie watch parties, no matter of the genre, has helped open my heart and my mind to dig deep into my psyche and to bring things to surface, to identify and understand me, to identify and understand my mental, and then finding a healthy way of relief. I found relief in my process. I, Rhonda, am going to take you on a deep dive of my darkest nightmare. And I'll see if I can finally open up about what I've been hiding. Be patient with me, beautiful people, because this is going to be an amazing process for all of us to stay with me while I share my story. Be with me as I take this journey to my truth, story, nightmare. I was trapped in a living hell where darkness closed around me in every waking moment. I was fighting a desperate battle to be heard, to be seen, to be understood. But the forces arrayed against me was so much more powerful, and it's unclear if I will be able to really find my voice in time. My greatest challenge in the suffocating silence that surrounds me and these words that I end up swallowing up by the void, leaving me feel isolated and alone. Thank you, God, for helping me identify this. As you all have been watching me and listening to me and supporting me, you've seen my journey, how I've been able to come out more in depth about who I am, why I am estranged from my parents and sisters, and I've been able to identify it. I've been desperate to break free from the shackles of my own mind, but the fear of rejection and ridicule would always hold me back. My emotional toll of this internal struggle has been devastating, leaving me feeling that I'm drowning in a sea of uncertainty. I struggle to articulate my feelings at times. The weight of my emotions threatens also to crush me. My plight is heartbreaking and a reminder that even in my darkest moments, I feel that we must find a way to keep fighting, no matter how futile it may seem. My experiences are a labyrinth of twists and turns, each one leading me further into the heart of my unknown of personal darkness. I tried to reach out for help, but the hands that could have lifted me up have instead pushed me down. The lack of support has been a crushing blow, leaving me feeling like I'm alone in this fight. Despite the overwhelming negativity that surrounded me my whole life, I refused to give up. I found solace in my own inner strength, forging a resolve that refuses to be broken. And my journey is a testament to the human spirit, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. As I navigate this treacherous landscape of my own mind, I'm forced to confront the demons that have haunted me for so long. I emerge victorious, or will the shadows consume me? The pivotal moment in my journey comes when I stumble upon a glimmer of hope and a small spark. It's why my YouTube channel is called Rhonda's Lovely Sparks. But it's enough to ignite a fire that has engulfed my entire world. With newfound determination, I began to fight back against the forces that have held me captive for so long. I start to speak out. My channel has helped me with that. My voice trembling at first, but growing stronger with each passing day. The words flow from me like a river, washing away the fears and doubts that have haunted me for so long. My transformation is nothing short of miraculous, a testament to the power of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity. As I stand tall, my voice rings out loud and clear. I know that I will never be silenced again. I found my voice, and nothing can never take that away from me. My journey is a powerful reminder that our voices matter and that we must fight to be heard in a world that often seeks to silence us. My story is a beacon of hope, a shining example of what it means to overcome even the most daunting challenges. As I reflect on my journey, we're reminded that our voices are the most powerful tools we possess and that we must use them to speak out against the darkness that threatens to consume us. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share your thoughts on my story in the comments below. And if you're ready to overcome your own adversity, be sure to check out my videos, check out the playlist where I'll explore more incredible stories of triumph and resilience. Here is my dream I will share with you after I catch up on my chat, who is the cherry on top. Daydream 1990 says, well, Auntie, I suffered from self injury issues as a young teenager, and my immediate family didn't care, and they thought I was attention seeking, and the school called CPS. Thank you for sharing that. And hopefully, here we can all grow together on my journey that I take, and maybe in some special way, I can help us all identify these things that maybe we have suppressed. My story, I'm going to share with you my darkest nightmare and see if I can finally open up to you all in my vulnerable state right now. What I've been hiding. It's probably been some intentional and some is unintentional. Here's my story. Here's my dream. Here's my nightmare tonight. Again, where my husband, where I screamed out loud, so loud, help! He heard it. He rubbed my side. Movies have been good for me because it's been able to bring out what I have suppressed. I'm not ignoring your chats. Please keep them coming as I work my way through remembering the stream. I fight for my voice in this terrifying nightmare. The dream takes place in Louisiana. In real life, I'm born from Kansas City, Missouri, moved to Louisiana when I was 6 years old. I've been a baby for 6 years. I've been, for me, alone for 6 years. No fault of my parents. In real life, when we moved to Louisiana, the purpose was We all moved in with my grandparents until my dad could buy land in Texas. And eventually, he ended up building a 5-bedroom brick home with hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, including marriage problems. But my parents ended up making their way through. Today, they are married now 60 years. I have been estranged from them for almost going on 5 years, and my two sisters. The movies and the dreams, the movie watch parties, and you all have helped me been able to interpret, to overcome adversity, to help my mental health, to find the power in habits, to story tell, to do deep dream interpretations, and to ask for you all's help. Also, interpreting this helps my emotional well being awareness. It lets me see the neglect and the loss of my success and life lessons. So, carrying you through to me being in Louisiana in the dream, I'm in my grandmother's house. In real life, my granddad bought his house for $500 and in real life had that house moved from one location to the land he had bought, which I think approximately 20 something to 30 acres. And that time, that was rare. At that time in real life, not the dream yet, my grandmother worked for a white family, a prominent judge in Greenwood, Louisiana, making over a little over $1.50 per day and taking care of their children and the house and the cooking and everything. This is where caregiving takes place in my dream. So, the location of the dream now I will begin to share that's in my grandmother's house. I loved her house. It's beautiful. It was big to me. It was a wooden house with the initials AA that represented the initials of my last name, Anthony. He had the initials on the front of the house, AA, where he carved and made out of wood and put the two AAs in front of the house. That was very common back then to do that. I'm in the house. Here's my dream. My grandmother had a wooden floor in the kitchen. I don't want to lose this dream. I remember my dream. I'm in the kitchen and I'm talking to my dad and I'm saying, Dad, in the dream, look at this. I told my dad in the dream that such and such in my family said that half the house was built later, that the original part of the house started from the living room forward, and that my granddad had built the rest of the house by hand. I was pointing out to my dad the craftsmanship where I could see where the original parts of the house ended, and how the new part was added on later by my grandfather building this new part. This was in my dream. I could tell what was at the part that he added to the house. While I was explaining this to my father, he had the look of doubt in the dream at me that I was lying, that he didn't believe me, and that I was wrong. that he was so stubborn in the dream that he did not want to hear me share with him what someone else had told me about the addition to the house. He was looking at me as if I was lying. I'm trying to, in the dream, tell my dad my truth. It was gravely disappointing to see doubt from him. The dream carries me into being outside of my grandparents' home because I remember my dad in real life. My grandparents had a huge pine trees very close to the house. I mean, a lot of pine trees in real life. And when my dad moved down, my dad helped my grandfather make the decision on removing those pine trees because they were too close to the house. So, what that means is that my dad got the yard, the backyard, the left part of the yard, and the right part of the yard so beautiful, cleaned out the trees, got rid of the stumps, beautiful grass. And this is what carries on now into the dream state. That somehow my husband's truck was in that dream, his trailblazer, his blue trailblazer. I was in the trailblazer somehow. And somehow, when I was in the trailblazer, it was parked on the right side of my grandmother's house. And that green grass, it was on the grass part of the yard. And the truck, I could, I had no way of stopping the truck. The truck kept rolling. And I tried in my dream everything I could. I tried to find a way to get to the brake, and I was more concerned of the car getting wrecked and being punished for me wrecking the car, but I had no control of stopping the car. The car kept going, and even though I knew where the brake was, I couldn't get to the brakes. The car ended up running into the fence because my in real life my granddaddy had horses and cows. I was more concerned of the car getting scratched and damaged than my life. I was frightened to death that I damaged something and that I could truly get in trouble for and not recover. I was in the dream busy looking around on the top of the roof. My grandmother's house is probably about 200 feet from where I was with the car being scratched by the barbed wire. And I was looking around from left to right to see if anybody was going to come after me and punish me. Somehow in the dream, I was able to, in the dream, the car was removed from that place, that position. The car was turned around somehow. I didn't turn it around, it was facing the house. It was facing kind of angle, like at an angle, not at the house, but kind of facing the road, which was about 300 feet from our home, from my grandparents' house. Mind you, they had, I think, 20 something acres. Somehow I was in my dream, I was in the blue Chevy Trailblazer. And when I was in it, the car started going again and looked like it was out of control, and again, I tried to stop the car, and somehow I couldn't get into stopping it, and I was so concerned about the barbed wire scratches on the whole side of the car because I remember that's in the dream, the long scratches on the car, and at the end of the dream, This is where I scream, and my husband heard it in real life. In the dream, the car, the Trailblazer, flips over on the side. You'll see that on the thumbnail. I'm on the side. The car's on the side. I halfway out of the window, I'm able to kind of get halfway out and look into the house window where I saw my father. And I'm thinking I didn't see other family members, but I could tell other family members were around. And I'm screaming, yelling to the top of my voice, help. Somehow I couldn't get that out. In the dream, it was, uh, I couldn't get it out. And I kept trying, I think at least 6 times. And then finally, when I felt that I could actually hear myself in the dream go, help. So in the dream, I yelled, help. Looking in the window at them, not hearing me or paying attention to me. The last one of the scream help was so loud that it woke up my husband in real time. The last one was, and this is how I felt. I'm describing to you how I felt in the dream. Help! And then my husband heard it. And when he heard it in real time, I was out of the dream. He touched my side like this and he rubbed me. He said, "It's okay. It's okay." In real time. In real time, when my husband did that, he was able to help me realize that it was just a dream. That's the end of my dream that I wanted to share. That was it. You all could feel free to share with you what your thoughts are about my dream. What do you think I was going through? But when I shared with you, um, when I was able to feel like I was identifying um, me digging deeper into my experiences, showcasing my obstacles and the support and lack of my encounters in real life, I was able to identify the trap of a living hell. Because, mind you, I felt the accident of the car flipping to the side. My words were swallowed up in a void. And then eventually, it was so loud that my husband actually heard me scream, help. Okay, I'm going to get to the chat room now. I'm going to read you all's responses. Um, Miss TR says, I can help interpret your dreams. And Daydream says, do you think it was worth calling CPS? So Daydream says, well, Auntie, I suffered. Yeah, yes, Daydream, it was worth them calling Child Protective Services because schools are schools have responsibility. And their responsibility is to call Child Protective Services. And there's sometimes that Child Protective Services, they do benefit. They're very beneficial, and then they have such large uh, caseload that they really don't have time to really genuinely invest their time into studying the cases because there's a politics of Child Protective Services where they can make some decisions that are not fair. And for the most part, when there's detrimental situations, The dream has me still shook. I'm okay. I'm just glad that I'm not in the dream anymore. And then Alice Galloway says, I'm back, halftime. And then Naja said, I'm sorry once again, sister. I'm proud that our internet auntie being opening is encouraging you to be open. That's so true. Thank you. And Miss TR says, many times CPS they will drop the ball, right? So this is where I'm at. I want to share my dream. I woke up. My husband was able to help me get out of that. And Najalissa says, yes, the school should have called social services by your parents' reaction. My old high school bestie had a self injury crisis and she got arrested for it. That's very terrible when you were saying that she had a crisis, but she got arrested for her crisis. It's crazy. And then Alice Galloway said, this is why you pray. Thank you. How do I interpret that? I know at the beginning I broke down my being. I can share with you in my dream that the location of my dream, and I do pray a lot, but also with that, what you reminded me of is so factual, right? But also, I know on my end, and I feel that people's ends on your end, that you have to do the physical work too, along with prayer. And what I picked up on that was the truth, what happened to me in my dream, my nightmare. So the question is, Nodulissa says, I love your story, though, TT. So were your parents really neglectful? My parents wasn't neglectful when it came to as far as feeding me, housing me, raising me the best they could. And I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. There were times, at least once a year, my mother had a very big outburst because I didn't know that back then, but found out later she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. She was diagnosed with bipolar and Parkinson's, right? But she explained to me on her journey, right, how she got Parkinson's was through some chemical exposure through working for Bell Telephone or Western Electric or something like that, that built phones, and that she was exposed to the smell of her using, what do you call it? These welding, little small welding machines to do the melting and molding and fixing and the wires and stuff. So she breathed that in and she got exposed to that chemical, along with getting her bipolar and schizophrenia came from her being a survivor of family who survived the Tulsa riots back in 1921. There she was able to get her, um, she was inherited the emotions of the times that were very real surrounding her when it came to uh, the racist riots against Black people in her time. So she grew up around that environment. So for me, the answer would be I wasn't neglected in that aspect because when what my father had ended up accomplishing, both my parents, when it came to 50 acres of land and a 5 bedroom brick home. Yes, race riot. It was white people killing Black people in 1921. The Tulsa riots, which is known as Black Wall Street back in the day. I came from a very upper class, wealthy Black family, educated family. So, with my parents, the neglect came from today, I've been able to identify it as I was their escape. I was their scapegoat. I've been able to identify that this year. That because I was the firstborn, I was the one in their minds, in their hearts and minds, to take all pressure, to blame all things. Even when I was innocent, I was the go to for blame. How does this tie into punishing me when I was innocent? Well, my dad was disciplined and over disciplined and beat a lot by his father. Back then, it wasn't called abuse, it was called the way they disciplined people. How they disciplined kids is that they beat them. And with my dad's history, he had a younger sister who, believe it or not, was my favorite aunt, with the understanding that my aunt, at that time when they were little kids, would blame everything on my dad when he was a little boy and he would get beatings. She would lie on him because she was her father's favorite, and my dad would get beat. So my dad carried that with him into how he would discipline me, but they felt they were disciplining me in a better way than their parents had disciplined them, right? So to him and them, it was better. Like today, what Najalista was saying, well, that's not discipline. Back then, that was how life was. Um, and with my generation, we were given tools to identify that we could identify what our parents went through. Not that our parents really want to hear us identify that at all. Not really. Um, but for me to identify what happened to him helps me understand why things happened to me. So my daddy carried that whatever he went through as a child, being beaten by his parents and being lied on by his sisters, by his sister. One sister lied on him. And Miss Tiara says, yeah, they had that slave mentality. And Miss Tiara says, we got beatings, not spankings. There was no such thing as timeout. Not in my day. They were learning in my day, parents of raising a 60s baby. They were learning how to, they felt in their hearts and minds that they were parenting better than their parents. So, what this had to do with me and my dream? Well, in reality, when I was growing up, that being the firstborn, no matter what, if my younger sisters, which was 9 years younger than me, and the other one was 6 years younger than me, you see the age gap, right? Let's see. Let me clean my cam. Okay. I had to clean my cam. Sorry if that was like triggering. Um, Now you notice too, I find a lot of laughter in my live content because laughter is what helped me survive those times where I felt neglected, and how I was able to also identify neglect as a child. Um, was that when my sisters would lie on me a lot and I would get beatings for it. I didn't get a beating for it like how my dad got his beaten, but there was a consistent lash that was repetitious. And that was his way of, well, I'm not going to beat her like he was beaten as a child, but he felt the way he was disciplining me, it was lighter. It wasn't as bad, but I'm not going to be able to determine that. Hell, I'm like living in the now, and how you're treating me in the now is horrible because no, my sisters lied. So I had to sit there or stand there and he'd line me up with them. And because my sisters cried, and because I was the one who didn't cry, I got the beating. So, what the dream exposes is that neglect comes from not really allowing, not really being heard, not listening to my truth, not believing in me. That's where the neglect came, and that's the most horrible feeling. Is why my go-to was writing. Um, I didn't know I was doing poetry back then, and as I got older, I was able to identify. Wow, this is called. There's a name for it. This is called poetry. Oh, okay. I was singing. Okay. I thought I was just singing to the animals and the wildlife in the woods, and found out no, there is a genre of my kind of singing. It was folk singing. It was coming up with me coming up with lyrics, and having this skill set, which I've been able to identify now, the skill set of being a writer, being a storyteller. um, that's where the neglect comes from. To the question I was asked in the chat room, why? Um, and that was routine throughout my childhood through adulthood. Is why I also became estranged from them, because they were still doing the same thing. And that's just a tiny part of why I'm estranged. There's worse things. Stay tuned to my journeys. I got a lot to share with you. Got a lot of material. Um, but that's where the neglect was, them taking the time to hear me, hear my voice, to really listen to me without them defending themselves. They were so preoccupied in defending themselves that they didn't want to listen to me, because they felt like what Daydream was talking about, how she was called a drama queen, that I was raised to, that you better, suck it up, buttercup. You stop acting prissy. You be strong. You get in there and you touch, worms and yucky stuff. Now we can identify that touching the yucky stuff is triggers, and some things are good for occupational therapy, and some things are not. You have to grow into, seeing it becoming no longer a trigger, but start to see it when your body can start accepting the trust parts of embracing your new sensories, um, into being not a trigger anymore. So I found out that I've identified those as triggers back then, doing things, forcing me on stage to perform when I was frightened to death. Back then, teachers did that too. Teachers called your name out to read when you really didn't feel comfortable reading, even though that was their way of teaching. But sometimes the anxiety of forced to answer a question that you knew you did not have an answer for as a child growing up, but then everybody at class is like, eyes all on you, and you might could get the answer wrong. Those are triggers. That's anxiety. Today they have a different way of teaching, even though that was their way of teaching back then, putting you on the spot. Catching up with the chat room, Miss TR, read again. Nodulissa says, well, that's not discipline. And Miss TR says, you all subscribe to Miss TR to Please do. We got beatings, not spankings. And now Jalissa said it's definitely a slave mentality. Yes. And Alice Galloway says you need to write down what you can remember of the dream to write your interpretations. Thank you for that. And what I thought about, since I'm Alice, thank you for that. Since I am talking about it, I can now, in my verbal expressions, I can generate from my YouTube, I could generate what I say into text. Can you believe that? That I could generate what I'm saying in YouTube into a program that could translate my voice and my words into text. And then I don't have to go through the labor of retyping and dictation and transcribing. And then it automatically puts it in word form. And it's right there. I can save the date and title it Rhonda Fights for Her Voice in a Terrifying Nightmare. Me and Thank you, Alice, for that. And then not Daydream says, me and Nodulist are young, but our parents and so many parents in the Black community uses violence as discipline, but it's not discipline. True. And maybe you can, hopefully, me sharing my story with you can probably help identify the people that you probably love, which is your parents, and identify based upon what I went through because I was raised like I was in the 40s and the 50s because understand I was raised in a rural area and rural times. And that time I was raised like they raised people in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. You see, when it came to living off the land and we ate what we hunted. And if we killed a squirrel, we made squirrel soup. Even though my mother was from the north, which was Tulsa, Oklahoma, she was more domesticated. She was like, some things I'll try to make soup out of, and some things I'm not. And then Miss TR, me and Nodulist are young. This one, okay. And then Miss TR says, yes, they had the same mindset to beat if you didn't obey them. And yes, and the mindset was don't talk back. And the mindset was if you talk back, you got a worse beating. Okay. So even if I talked back and I said, I didn't do it, I'm innocent, I got a worse beating. They had the same mindset to beat you if you didn't obey them. So Miss TR says, so this spilled over and it became a generation curse from how master disciplined us if we didn't or made a mistake. Exactly. Exactly. That mentality. We didn't have an Oprah Winfrey back then or a Montel Williams or Jessie, what's her name? Is it Jessie Raphael? All those lists of talk shows in the 90s that introduced to us how we can be open, how we can be transparent, how we can get resources at our fingertips to get help. And, Oprah Winfrey was the one to identify toxicity in the Black family. And there was a lot of Black family today fought her for being transparent about what happened to her and her being molested by a family member. And she's being outspoken. Oprah had a platform, she used her vehicle to come out and tell the world, and the world listened to her. The world could identify her. I identify with Oprah. We're not talking about politics, even though I love her politics. Those talk shows that were introduced in the 90s was the power of the mic that helped us find material. It was great for us because that was before internet became popular. That was before then. So that resource depending on those shows is what has made Oprah Winfrey a millionaire today. We made Oprah Winfrey a millionaire today because We wanted to support her in her flight of success so she can continue having the power of the mic because we need her to represent our quiet voices. We needed her to represent people who didn't have the power of the mic. And we wanted to put that money in her pocket so she can help us transport ourselves from abuse and transport into really being secure and identifying mental health. She introduced that to us, to everyone, because she's able to cross over into different religions and different races and different cultures, and people fell in love with Oprah Winfrey. Um, Daydream says, "Stop crying before I give you something to cry about." Exactly, Daydream. A little bit of that as a parent for my children. I carried a little bit, tiny bit of it into my parenting, but I work so hard to be a much better parent than them. Not a fault of them. And trust me, I'm not going to say I blame my parents for what they did because of that time, the resources they had, that was in those times, they felt they had to put us in that position to save our life whether we want to agree with it or not. There was racism was worse. Lyndon Baines Johnson was our president, where we had where there were assassinations of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy. All of this was the tumultuous and turbulent times of the time my parents were young parents and I was a little girl. So, to identify these issues and interpret these issues, we must also put time into understand the social times of our parents and why they were like the way they were. Because of those times during the 60s, my parents reacted the way they did because of racism, because of the riots, because of us fighting for equalities, because in their hearts and minds, they really felt they were trying to save our life. And this is the best way they felt they could discipline us to put us in our place so we wouldn't die. Does that sound weird today? Yes. Does that sound unkosher today? Yes. Does that sound sick? Yes. But they were doing the best because guess what? There were not toll free numbers, there were not books available for us to read that we could identify with to help them in their parenting. There was not a 101 book on how to help them to be a better Black parent for Black kids in the 1960s. So their go to was reading Nikki Giovanni, the poet, these poets, and read poetry and take up classes in art and painting. You see? If we can identify our mental health today, it's not really to be angry and mad at them, but to identify why they did what they did so we can see that it was out of love, even though their love was tough and abusive and hurtful and neglectful, then we could still go back and go, this is what their reason was. Even though a lot of things happened to me, they identified me as a scapegoat because both my parents had mental health challenges that they weren't able to identify, and they didn't have the luxury to retire and relax and read because they had to work to put food on the table. They had to work and deal with racism and discrimination. You see? I had to understand and identify the truth, what happened to me, while also identifying the truth, what they were doing to me. And their parents did worse to them. They used extension cords, they used switches, which were sticks and limbs, and it was tough. So, with me and my parenting, I felt I was doing better than them. Even though me having grandkids, my children taught me that, Rhonda, timeout doesn't really work that well today, but today you can't tell them that they are disrespecting you for speaking up, even though there's some things about it I feel it's still disrespectful, right? There are certain things you don't talk back at your parents today, but understand back then, I mean, you don't today kids are cussing in front of their parents, right? I'm talking about that level. No, you're not gonna cuss in front of me. You're not gonna be a part of a program and you're a little girl or a little boy, and in this program that's meant for adults, they're teaching you that you can get, which is called Sims, that you can invite a friend, and these friends network together in real life in school, and they join your Sims page. And when they get on there, when you find your friends, the man can play husband and the woman, you can play wife throughout this whole program. It's really good in a lot in more ways, but there's some toxicity there where kids are imagining that they are in a relationship with this boyfriend that they have in real life in school. You see how things are different? Yet understandable because we still have to say how what they need today is different than what I needed, different than what my parents needed. To identify the truth is important. To put it out there, what they did was wrong, and then understand what I went through. There was more extremes than me because when my father, when he was whipped me, he was in a repetitious rhythm when he whipped me, and it was like 20 something times, 30 something times. It was a rhythm, but it hurt. It put whelps on me. It put scars on me. I could barely sit, and the worstest thing is to get punished like that when you know you were telling the truth. So it's confusing when you're growing up. You know? It's confusing. So thanks to this channel I have where I could tell you some things and share some things with you that maybe you can pull out of your psyche and find some healing into what I went through. And I'm gonna get back to the chat room too and finish that up. That to identify their times. Today, do we judge them based upon what they've done, what they've voted for to pass legislation to help us where we can walk on the same sidewalks as white people? You see the difference there? That we can go grocery shopping in a different zip code, that we don't have to just grocery shop in a store that has expired meat, because that's where we had to grocery shop, is why farming was very important to us. But if you went out your zip code and went to a neighborhood that had more wealth, you were stared at, you were mean mugged, and you weren't invited to shop there. True, and it still happens today. But see the difference? That our parents were shopping where places food was expired meats and milks. And that today we have the luxury of Target said, "You know what? I'm gonna build a classy store where people can feel of all races can feel comfortable getting high priced things, high valued things. They can make it affordable." Walmart now, people are boycotting Walmart today because my husband went in Walmart yesterday and he said, honestly, you don't see no black people there and you see a few white people there. They've been boycotting ever since Walmart has removed the diversity program. And you all could Google and look that up for yourselves. So there has been a serious boycott where people have not been shopping, black and white and Hispanic and all complexions. They refuse to shop. It's empty stores. And that started on Black Friday. And boy, Black Friday, you remember at Walmart where people would there were killings just about every couple of years where people were trample or trump on will step on top of people to get into those specials once they open the doors. Remember that Black Friday where well there were crickets in Black Friday in Walmart this year because people are boycotting it. Um, So Daydream says, "Stop crying before I give you something to cry about," right? And Nodulista said, "That's what they told us." Nodulista said, "I used to hate when teachers would randomly call on students. I found that rude." Exactly. And you saw how they would call on the student too that had struggling with really reading, right? Who had developmental delays. Tracy Lee says, "Been scared or called a now-a-tal. A know-it-all. Thank you. A know-it-all. Exactly. Exactly. Nodulissa said, "Why do you think we are seeking all types of professional help? We both turned out as good girls and we were both good kids and good teens, but we have to undo the emotional damage." Exactly. Alice says, "Car is your hubby's. Symbolically." Exactly. Symbolically. You are protecting him some kind of way because you are in the car. That's hubby surrounding you, protecting you from your past. Oh my God, Alice, that's right. In my hubby's car. Oh, I can't wait to show this to hubby and tell him about this. That's right. Symbolically, you are protecting him some kind of way because you are in the car that hubby's surrounding you, protecting you from your past. Miss TR says defending was considered backtalk and rude and disrespectful. Exactly. Najalissa says my folks were allowed to be verbally disrespectful to the kids, but if the kids did it back, we were called disrespectful. Exactly. I was slapped the fire out of my I was slapped by my mother. She slapped the fire out of me. And when we talk about slap the fire, people will laugh about it and joke about it to really keep from crying. But when I say the fire out of you, it's true. She would slap me so hard that it would slap the fire out of me. That means it slapped the life out of me. Can you imagine being a child slapped that hard? It happened to me. I could count how many times it happened. Probably 3 times in my lifetime. Najalissa says, "My folks were allowed to be verbally disrespectful," right? I read that. Miss TR says they would say those words, putting more fear than the fear of God in us because we knew we were about to experience a beating was mind blowing. Oh my God, yes. Um, and Najalissa says, "I don't curse at all." Yes, and I used to be like that. And then I started cursing a lot. I think in the last 5 years. I didn't curse as much as I do now. Been trying to work on that this year. Tracy Lee came up with a great idea of getting a swear jar, and every time I cuss, hubby's gonna go to the bank and get me some 20, probably don't need that many, but 21s. And every time I do that, then put it in, I'm gonna have a swear jar. I'm gonna put it right here so you all can see it. It's a great idea. Thank you, Tracy Lee. Um, They would say those words putting more fear than the fear of God in us, Miss TR says, because we knew we were about to experience a beating was mind blowing. Exactly. A beating that was mind blowing. When I say beat, when she says it, beating was mind blowing, trust me, it was. Nodulissa says, "I don't curse at all." And belts were about 5 inches wide, weren't they? They weren't too skinny because it would put whips, like whelps on your skin. It was wide. They had a certain belt. And then for them to tell you, go find that belt. Man. Nodulissa 90 says, "Daydream, don't curse either." And I'm going to work on that. My husband's been helping me. Believe it or not, my husband's from New Jersey. And you would think, he could cuss like a sailor, and he does. But believe it or not, he doesn't curse like that in front of me. Mm-mm. It's because he tells me he respects me. I'm a lady, I'm his wife. So I have to work on that because some things will slip out. And I wasn't a cursor all the time my whole life. I was like that probably till about 5 years ago when I went through with my beautiful grandbaby that was in hospital where a surgeon almost unalived my grandson. I've never experienced anything like that in my whole entire life. Of the idea of my grandson earning angel wings, that was unfathomable for me. And then I was crying as much as my daughter, and I had to not suck it up buttercup, right? But I had to really say, I have to be stronger for her because she needs me. So it wasn't abusive for me to do that or reminded me of my past because I was falling to pieces in my husband's arms. He captured me, he held me. I almost passed out in the elevator, leaving and going to the hospital room to see my grandson in a coma, to see my grandson in a vegetative state because they had to put him in a coma so his body could fight to live. It's called an induced coma, to see his little body laying there. I'm breathing right now, is why I pause. I'm getting it out my system. I'm getting it out my system. Thank you all for listening to me. Thank you for being there. Hopefully, that I've been able to give you, I'm not going anywhere right now. I shared it with you all because I know we all come from some sense of anxiety. Is Rhonda leaving right now? Is she getting to a point where she's going to leave? No, I'm not. So I do that so we won't have no anxiety. I will not abandon you all while I'm live right now talking about something where I have consumed you all with my story. I always make sure that we have some downtime together where we can release, where we can breathe, where we can find a place of peace before I just hang up the phone. Sometimes I'll I say hang up the phone. Oh, that's my 60 ways. Yes, we had phones where we actually hung them up. We didn't click hang up. But I always try to get ourselves into a place before I leave when we talk about something this deep where we can talk our way through things where I can uplift you all and not just dump and make you feel I'm dumping on you all and leave, but we can try to process this where you all can process it where maybe these things have happened to you. How do we find a way out of it? How do we find a way through it? Sometimes it's not answers right away, but sometimes it's something that we can. Now, Miss Tiara says that little rascal made up for it. He sure did. Just to let you know, sister-in-law, my sister, that my grandson and Andre, his god daddy, he doesn't call him grandpa, pappy, grandpappy, grandfather. No, he calls him god daddy. He called him that when he first started learning to speak. So he calls him god daddy. Isn't that amazing? So now, god daddy, when he was little, god daddy taught him some bad habits, which is, I'm not gonna say they're bad. They're cute habits between them 2. It's not bad habits. But the reason why I say bad because my grandson would stand up beside granddaddy while he's sitting down on tablet playing games or whatever, and my grandson would smack him on his nice little bald spot, bam, bam, really kinda hard, and then Andre would look up to him like, "Stop, that hurts." I go, "Look, Andre, look what you created. You created him to be, aggressive, and the reason why he's become aggressive a little bit, he's not aggressively bad, no. He's he's thriving because of the physical therapy, the speech therapy, the occupational therapy, because when he used before he wouldn't he had sensory delayed development, so everything he touched gave him were triggers. So now guess what, he's slapping him granddaddy on the head. He's doing those same things he learned in therapy, that it was okay. Guess what, he's stronger now, he's smarter now, he's faster now. So guess what, it hurts. Granddaddy's getting smacked on his head. And then guess what he does? He'll get some kind of oil or some vitamin E or something that's healthy for our black hair, and he'll massage his goddaddy's scalp, and he'll comb it, and he'll fix his hair. He does that today. I'm just saying. He does that today. I'm like, yeah, he's aggressive. It's not bad behavior. It's good behavior. So let me work on that too on myself. It's not bad. It's good behavior. And I said, Granddaddy, Andre, now you're gonna have to teach him that you're too old. Because I tell him, I'm too old. You can't jump on my stomach like that. Your parents are young. They can handle that. I'm grandma. I'm old. It's not a bad thing to say you're old, y'all. There's another thing that they've damaged us with, right? Society makes old being a bad thing. No, sometimes you got to tell your grandkids, I'm old. That hurt. Sometimes you got to tell your grandkids, you can't jump on my stomach. That hurted my breast. Oh my God, that hurt. I'm too old. So granddaddy and I embrace using old because we have to teach him we can't jump up and play hide and go seek as fast as you can, honey, because we're old. But being old is beautiful because we love you and we will try our best. Okay. So, what's the word? Ready or not, here I come. Or you count to 10. 1, 2, you count to 10. Ready or not, here I come. And then it's going to take us a minute to get out of the chair. And then but the experience is what grandkids and great grandkids really care about, is the experience. They really don't see us old. We don't try to force that down their throat. We don't try to let them think that we can't do the things that we used to do, but some things we do have to be honest with. You can't jump on our stomachs. You can't jump on granddaddy's tummy like that. Be soft, and being soft is not a bad thing, because we have people in political circles and in NFL football say, you're soft, because they want to change something beautiful into something ugly. But we use the word soft because in his occupational therapy, his physical therapy, he learned hard and soft, right? The texture. So he can identify when we say be soft with us, which he's so smart, we can say now, be delicate with us because we're old. You're going to break our bones. You're going to crack our ribs. Be soft with the cat. Don't knock the hell out of the cat. So we're teaching him how to be friendly with cats, right? You have to teach your kids how to be friendly around your fur babies. They don't know, right? You got to be soft with Mothra's head. Don't slap her, pat her softly. You get it? So, Michael Dennison, please don't hurt me. I love you, grandkids. Oh, we grandparents and great grandparents, we love you, but that hurt. Welcome, Michael Dunn. I love you, love you, love you, love you. I do love you. Yes, I do. Miss TR says, that little rascal made up for it. Yes, yes, he did. Oh my God, he's beautiful. He's very smart. He's definitely caught up with it. His allergies have basically are no allergies at all. Somehow I'm still up. Oh, you're still up, my love. I'm glad you came here. See, I'm glad you came here. Uh, Tracy Lee Williams, when I was talking to her, he says, cool. And then Daydream says, Grandma Rhonda probably spoil her grandbabies and let them have late night snacks. I do. Not a whole lot because I respect mommy and daddy, but sometimes if I have a cream soda or a Dr. Pepper, I give them some. Or cherry candy, coffee candy, because I grew up with coffee candy when my great aunt, she died at 100 and something, I think 110. And she would always give me coffee candy. And then Miss Tiara says, my great grand love pinching my side fat. And then my God dad says, please don't hurt me. And then Daydream says, I had a cappuccino today. Sounds so good. My beautiful, sweet niece. My God dad says, you got to put your foot down at some point. I know I would tell Andre because, my grandson gets a little rough with him. I said, Andre, you can't let him jump on your stomach like that. Good Lord, I mean, I'm thinking about my husband's ribs. I'm thinking about his stomach. I'm thinking about his heart. I don't need my grandson giving him a heart attack. I said, Andre, he loves him so much. I said, Andre, you have to tell him to stop. So I think he's becoming more secure in telling him that now. I think sometimes he'll use like the sprayer, the water squirt spray and spray him. I'm like, honey, that's not disciplining him because he's going to squirt you back and he's going to think you're playing. But I don't interfere with my husband's joy time with grandson. I mean, this is where it's good, just not to disenfranchise women, but the facts are this is why it's good having a grandfather. That's why it's really good to have a man. If you don't have a man, I'm not trying to be politically insensitive. I'm just saying in my situation, it's really good to have a man around my grandchildren. It's really good to have a man around my daughters who they look at up to him more than their biological sperm donor. They really respect Andre as their father. I didn't dump that on him. I didn't say you gotta be, we are one size fit all. You're gonna take me, you're gonna have to take my daughters. No, my daughters were grown and out the house when we met. I'm like, hey, you kids gonna have to if you want to be in my life, then you gotta work on what you need to do to be a good stepdaughter. And guess what? They are miraculously amazing. They love Andre. So Michael Donna says Andre needs his football helmet and shoulder pads. Yes. Because hubby loves the roughness. But I'm like, honey, no, this is gonna mess up your stomach. It's gonna crack your ribs. Okay. So just play, do what you want. I don't want to interfere with that. I mean, sometimes he'll tell me, Rhonda, I love my grandson. Let me play with him, and I'm not going to hurt him. I'm not going to kill him. Okay. That's his way of telling me, let him enjoy his time with his grandson. And sometimes don't worry about the roughness. And I do not all the time. I'm not overbearing, but sometimes it's like, I just don't want my grandson falling on his head. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So there's that motherly thing. Guess what? Having women and mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers in our grandchildren's life is very important too, because it's a good match when you have a grandfather who loves the roughness and the other kind of stuff, the gruffness and all that. And he's very sweet with him too. And he's very loving. And he gets soft with the grandson, right? He's all things perfect. He's a perfect grandfather. My husband is. I know you're saying, Rhonda, ain't no such thing as perfect. You're exaggerating. I'm trying to tell you my life, and I'm trying to tell you why I have a life like I do, because through prayer, because through overcoming adversity, because believing in God, because of having faith, and having faith in the most rottenest time in my life I had faith and I didn't I okay, yeah, there was one time I did argue with God. I was mad at him. I asked him to forgive me later on. I did get mad at God. Mhm. Yeah, I was hurting. Good night, Miss TR. It's 3:31 over there, East Coast. It is 2:31 over here. I love you, Miss TR. I'm so glad I was able to, have you close to me. Thank you. And then Michael Dana says, my granddad said, cut out with all this foolishness. Lemon drop. I protect my throat because I do book readings. I talk a lot. I do readings here. I share with you all my story. I'm not going anywhere right now, but to let you all know, please look at the replay where I talk about a nightmare that I had, and I end up screaming. And in real life, I woke my husband up, and he touched my side, and he told me, "It's okay. It's okay, Rhonda. It's okay." He heard me scream out, help! It finally came out of the dream and he heard me. And so please go to the replay and listen to what I talked about in depth about my dream, about, listening to my chilling experience as I face my darkest fears in this intense nightmare that I had. I was able to overcome my deepest anxieties through experiencing. I wanted to share this with you all so you can consume what I was going through, so you can be able to identify through me. You can identify mental health. You could identify probably things you went through. You could help me identify my dream. Um, you can you can help me. I could help you. Um, I shared with my nightmare, my journey into the depths of subconsciousness. My darkest fears and insecurities came to life in my dream. And I shared my secrets, uh, what cost me my silence. A whole year I've been going live and I never talked about that. And when I experienced me screaming out loud, and my husband comforted me, and then I got on live. It happened about 11, between 11 and 12 midnight. Dreams can mean many things, and you all check out the chat replay because Alice Galloway, my cousin, in real life, my husband's cousin, was able to identify beautifully and interpret my dream for me. I break down intense about, again, my darkest moments and probably what I've been hiding, and I finally now opened up. I think I was hiding it. I wasn't trying to hide it, but it is what it is. I was hiding it because I thought, oh, I could handle this. I didn't want to share it because I was ashamed, but there are some private things I just wanted to share. I mean, I just wanted to not say, not that I was really hiding it, but okay, maybe I was. So, me being open about some things, check out the replay and listen to me describe the build up to my real expression of my nightmare, what happened in my nightmare, and the build up to that, how I was able to identify. Drink some tea, black, green, or lemon ginger with lemon juice and honey. Thank you, Michael Donna. I will. Thank you for putting that to the forefront of my mind because I haven't been doing that. And I have lots of teas, and I have lots of green tea and black tea and lemon and ginger and honey and lemon juice. I do. Andre keeps fresh lemons in there. We like using fresh lemon. So thank you for reminding me about that. I will. Thank you. What I thought was amazing, want to find again what Alice Galloway had interpreted my dream to being when the car was flipped. If you see in my thumbnail, that's exactly what I felt when I was dreaming. Check out my thumbnail. It's me like this. It was my dream. And it shows a car turned upside down. Um, is what my dream was about. And Alice Galloway, I'm trying to find how she interpreted what my dream represented, and I want to read that again. She goes, "The car is your hubby's symbolically," because I let people know that the car, it was hubby's, the Chevy Trailblazer. Um, she said, "The car is your hubby symbolically. You are protecting him some kind of way because you are in the car, that hubby surrounding you, protecting you from your past." Wow. You hit that. I had to repeat it because I'm going to translate what I've said verbally here into written text. And what I might do is end up posting that too in my community tab. I could you could do that. You could translate I could translate what I'm saying into a transcript. And then also I'm going to save it in a file of dreams. And I'm going to date it. So I'll have a file of me talking about it, and I'll have to retype and transcribe and edit or anything. That's so time consuming. So I could just transfer convert this verbal live stream into a transcript, and then I could save it in a file and we'll share it with you all in the community tab. How about that? So I hope that I was able to, at the end of this now, provide it to where you all can now get some rest, because I probably will close out in the next couple of minutes. Don't leave me because it affects my analytics. Stay with me if you can till the end. A lot of people don't know it affects the analytics. When it sees a drop, it like tells YouTube that nobody likes my stuff, and it's not true. It's because people want to go to bed because they got to go work. I'm gonna hurry up because I know y'all got to go to work. Thank y'all for being here. Mothra's right here. Again, thank you all for being here. And thank you for giving me some health things to do, like drink some hot tea. Thank you. Shout out to Ma Caldana. I love you. And plus, I've been through a lot online with misogyny and racism and things from people in chat that I'm not going to go visit them in chat anymore. Hopefully, I can feel safe enough to go to Mark's chat. I feel that I do feel safe going into Mark Holmes' chat because I have friends there that will help me. But it does give me anxiety to go there if I feel um, that there are elements there that's going to attack me. The only place I feel safe outside of my YouTube page, my YouTube channel, is Mark Holmes' channel. So I put that out there. And if, I don't want to run away from things, but I just know that when something's become too unhealthy for me, probably that's encouraged some things that have been put in the back of my brain has surfaced also. I want to encourage everyone to share your thoughts after I leave here. Feel free to copy paste your journals into my comments in the YouTube. Share them with me because I would like to not only read them live chat, I want to read them when I go back and visit and replay my live chat. I want to go back and read your stuff. So feel free that if it's not confidential, and if you journal some things or if it's a part of your journal too, to share it with me and my comments, share that with my comments after I've closed out the live, so I can go back and read, so I can even help myself. Share your thoughts when you listen to the replay. Go back and listen to it, and then share your comments. I embrace that with my spirit and my soul to read your comments. Thank you, Tracy Lee, for your emails. Shout out to Tracy Lee. You've been sending me some cool stuff. I'm going to use it. Thank you so much. I'm going to use it for this weekend, this Saturday's movie. And also shout out to my beautiful brother, Mike Aldana. I love him too. I love you all for your emails. And when I get time, I keep sending them. And I'm not going to go anywhere until I finish the chat. Um, okay, all right, let me go back and read your before I leave. I'm not gonna leave right now. Let me go back and read the chat. So Mike Aldana says, yeah, Mark was sort of going out of his element tonight, a side talk other than talking about Thursday's game. I've noticed Thursdays, his lives have been like that, hasn't it? I think to me, and you could tell me if you disagree with what I say, I embrace that. I don't. I want you to embrace your truth. And I'm the type of that I'm not only are you a student or an admirer or a supporter of my channel, I'm a student of you too. I'm a student of you all in the chat. I'm a student of these young 20, 23 year olds. I'm your student too. Okay. So what you say helps me. Makadana, what you say helps me. So you don't have to agree. And I know you're not disagreeing with me, but sometimes I think suppressing what you feel that I could be wrong in. I don't mind you challenging that because I trust you. You could challenge someone with love in your heart because you've graduated into our friendship, that you trust what you write to me, that you trust that I'm not going to take it personal and blow up and act like a clown because I embrace it as a student. Um, what I've noticed, I think has been building in his Thursdays, and I'm not defending Mark at all. I'm just going by my interpretation because I want to own my interpretation because I'm not a follower, right? Um, with my thoughts. I feel that I've noticed on Thursdays it's his decompress time, that he doesn't really use that to just go back to back plays, and but he uses that as bonding time where he could talk about his family, that engaging where we can talk about our life because he knows there's a large fan base that wants to connect with him that can't connect with him in his other live streams, right? But on Thursdays, they can connect with him and share with him that, oh, they're cancer survivors, or they're going to the Air Force in February, or some personable things where someone has passed away because he makes time. Yeah, more social gathering with whatever. Yeah, because if it was a cowboy game, yeah, we're going to be all in Cowboys. But I think Thursdays, he does make that time to gather where we can be a little bit more chill. I don't know if he knows or if he's aware that it comes across that way to us. But to be honest with you, being an observer, being a moderator, that I can see that people want to be personable with him and they want to connect with him. And I like it because sometimes to connect with people, we send a super chat plus to show our monetary support because we know this man is spending a lot of money on his his live stream stuff. He's paying a lot of money out to entertain us. So we want to compensate him and contribute when we can, super chats. But sometimes I think Thursdays are so good because he wants to connect with people where you don't have to send him a super chat to connect with him too, even though super chats is important to everybody, me. But I can kind of I pull I'm an overthinker. Uh, and then Michael Dan says more social gathering with whatever. Yeah, and Michael Dan says I showed up when he was having a talk about something off TMZ. Oh, I'm gonna check out his replay. I wasn't there. I woke up after the nightmare and ended up going live. I gotta check his replay out. But what I think is truly amazing too. Thanks, Mike Aldana. Mike Aldana. Okay, I have to clean my nose. I have to powder my nose. I'll be right back. I don't like doing it on cam. Okay. I don't like doing it on cam. I have to be discreet. Okay? Yes. I'm back. Every time I do this, my husband laughs at me. I'm not gonna be blowing my nose. I gotta make sure I'm copacetic. Make sure I'm clean. Yeah, I have modesty. I'm a lady. I'm a lady. Shout out to Lola being such a great support. Shout out to Mike Aldana for being such a great support. Shout out to Tracy Lee Williamson, Miss Tiara, Nodulista 90s, Daydream 1990s. Did I say Tracy Lee Williams, our residential Santa Claus? Yeah. I love you all and thank you. Alice Galloway. I have to take my time and scroll because I don't want to forget anybody. Thank you, Alice Galloway, for your input and interpreting my dream. That is so true. And everybody who's been visiting here and sitting in the cut, but has not wanted to really say anything in the chat, but you're looking. Thank you for your support. Smash that like and hit that bell button because I get analytics from notifications. I get analytics from you clicking notify. I get analytics on everything, everybody, everything. Um, hopefully that I put something in your ear. In your ear. Yeah, I'm a 1990s fan of rap back in those days. I like Kendrick Lamar today. I think today he's one of my most. I'm a fan of his work. He's more social conscience. I like Kendrick Lamar. He's one of my favorites today. Um, but I'm from when rap first started in the 90s, and so let me put some new flavor in your ear. New flavor in your ear. Let Rhonda put some new flavor in your ear. New flavor in your ear. What y'all know about that? Hello. Yeah, Tupac. Yeah, Biggie Smalls, rest in peace. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Michael Donna says the politics has gone off the rails in the last few weeks with Trump not even in office yet. I've been shout out to Michael Donna for your email. Tonight, while I'm working on movies, I'm going to be observing what Michael Donna shared with me and also what I have noticed because I'm subscribed to a lot of people and I smash that like for theirs. I do comment and support. Even Dan Salio, even in his chat room, I've s- been hated on pretty badly. I still comment on his page because my thoughts matter and I'm going to have my voice heard. Darn it. I'll have my voice heard. That's a heard? Heard. Heard. Um, so, what I've noticed as far as people are saying Trump won, I am leaving the country. Well, okay, you can afford to leave the country. Okay. Um, I see people, Elon Musk and Trump suffering humiliating failure. Oh my gosh. I wonder what it is. Uh, USPS warns public of smishing scam. Weird text. Be careful if you get a text and it looks like it's telling you that you should be expecting a certain package. Do not click into it unless you're 100% sure it's called smishing, not phishing. Smishing scam. I see that I'm going to play it right now. As a matter of fact, Michael Donna, you got me. Okay, you know what? I can't play it because my phone. Oh, do I have my phone out here? I'm going to play it through here, through my cell phone. Killed a bipartisan bill to fund the government. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to Biden tells all legacy regrets future. I'm going to stay a little longer. Y'all know why? Because Michael Donna puts new flavor in my ear. You got new flavor in your ear. Put new flavor in your ear. Okay, I might be confusing you all. I'm staying for another at least 40 minutes, okay? Because I want to. Because I want to. Because I want to play this video. Let's see if I can find this video. Okay? Play put new flavor. I'm probably ruining the song. I'm sorry. But let's see if I can find what I'm talking about because I gotta play it. Because y'all know I gotta dance every night. Find the rap song, put new flavor in your ear. By Craig Mack. Flavor in your ear. Rap song, put new flavor in your ear. Come out and play. I know we had to do a remix, right? I'm get more butt than ashtrays. You're welcome, Daydream 1990s. Please forget it. You're mad because my style you're admiring. Don't be mad, UPS is high. You should have been the cop. Hip hop. That freestyle, you're bound to get shot. You're welcome, Naja Listis. Thank you for always encouraging me with your stories and your experience. I love you. I love you. Flavor in your ear. Word up, no rap, no crap, you bore me. When they grab my body, too lazy, hold it for me. I'm straight got brick, bust the head, spit and dreads, I'm everlasting. Like it's so on broadcast, a tech dime, when I rhyme, must like mine, word is mine. Your album couldn't with one line. It's been 3 years since your last year, but now I reappear, your heart pumps fear. To your gut, hit your girl's butt. I scraped it, shaped it. They tried to come back with their own bill, and there were 38 Republicans who voted alone. The Democrats against Elon Trump. What? Oh. Flavor in your ear. Flavor in your ear. And lost the vote, Mike says. You're jiggling, baby. You're jiggling, baby. You're jiggling, baby. You're jiggling, baby. What? You're jiggling, baby. What? It's jiggling, baby. Yes, Nigel Lister, LL Cool J, her boo. Yay! It's jiggling, baby. It's jiggling, baby. It's jiggling, baby. Busta Rhymes, Busta Rhymes. Michael Dan says, without government funding bill, the federal government will be shut down at midnight tonight. Oh my God, no. Oh no. Okay. So y'all get the gist. A new flavor in your ear. I'm spitting new flavor in your ear. That's right. That's right. I always got something going on. It is called the Spark in Rhonda's lovely Sparks. I am 1 hour and 54 minutes into my live tonight. The time is 2:56 a.m. What did you say? New flavor in your ear. Yeah, we got new flavor in your ear. Rhonda's Lovely Sparks. I'm Rhonda. Thank you for being here. Smash that like and hit that bell, please. Um, Skinny Buster Rhymes. He muscular as ever now. Dude may as well be a wrestler. Isn't that the freaking truth? He's gigantic. I can't even hear him talk. He's got so many muscles. Like 50 Cent got so many muscles. I can't. So Michael Dunn says federal employees will be laid off until a new government funding bill is passed. Are you serious? Really? Before Christmas? Are you effing serious? It's going to F with my Social Security? Are you effing serious? Michael Donna says Elon Trump killed a bipartisan bill to fund the government. You mean they can kill a bill and his ugly ass? Excuse me. I'm not going to cuss. His fart forever, farting, flatulence, freaking fudgesicle, fudge looking stank tail. He killed a bipartisan bill to fund the government. They're able to kill a bill? And he's not even sworn in? How does that happen? Mike says they tried to come back with their own bill, and there were 38 Republicans who voted along the Democrats against Elon Trump backed bill. Hello. And they lost the vote. Okay. Michael Dan says without a government funding bill, the federal government will be shut down at midnight tonight. A spending bill, I guess, he says. Federal employees will be laid off until a new government funding bill is passed. Trump did this ish during his first term. Okay, I remember when Trump, when he was in office, okay, his first term. I remember when he did that. Okay. So, the positive thing out of this, Republicans have been voting with the Democrats because we've been trying to do a lot of things before Trump gets sworn in. What I want to play right now, because my tablet, my iPad is in the bedroom and I don't feel like getting up. I'll have to get up to go get my iPad. I'm gonna play on my iPad. I gotta go to the powder room also, okay? Because I took a water pill, yeah, and I drink plenty of water, and I'm human. I gotta go to the powder room, but I wanted to share. Mike Aldana sent me an amazing email that I want to play now, and I'll go into the powder room. Then I'll be back to play it. It says President Biden exclusive interview with Midas Touch. I am so glad about Midas Touch getting the goods. Michael Down says Elon Musk was against the bipartisan bill. Trump went along with Elon and threatened anyone in Congress who voted for the bipartisan bill. You talking about now? This happened now? Elon Musk was against the bipartisan bill, and Trump went along with that cookie maker and threatened anyone in Congress who voted for the bipartisan bill. We have a war. Just recently, Elon Musk and Trump bipartisan bill, government funding bill. Huh. Okay, I think I'm going to play that first. How Elon Musk is influencing the government shutdown? Just recently. Okay. I'm going to be back. I'm going to get my iPads in the bedroom. I usually never take it in there, but today I did. I'll be back. Okay. And in the meantime, I'm going to play some Christmas music while I'm away. I'm just going to be gone for probably a couple of minutes. Doesn't take me long to powder my nose. I'm not going anywhere. Let's see if I can find something here. While I live, Christmas music on YouTube. Let's play you some Christmas music till I come back. How about that, Tracy Lee? Tracy Lee loves music too. Let's get this playing. Give y'all something to listen to until I get back, okay? Because I got to go to the powder room. I'll be back.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that'll make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. A pair of hot boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of
Wait a minute. I'm trying to get this together. Okay, here we go. I'll be back. Hubby bought me some pretty yellow roses because yellow is my favorite color. I gotta go give hubby a kiss too before I come back. I'll be back.
But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your
Door.
Sure, it's Christmas Past up window panes where the Christmas lights just light up your face in a different way. Cities you might make this time of year. Will this be the time I get to see you shine? They always talk about the festive cheer. Never felt it here till you. So let me take your hand, and we can dance around where the Christmas tree, drinking red wine all week. Semi-lovely, you look so lovely here in the Christmas light. Yeah, Christmas light. Sat round with the family, jokes and hope surrounds me, and I can feel the love this year, headed in the new year with you. Next to you, my love, two fly turtle doves, and I know it's getting late, but you're here on Christmas Day, and I love that. Said I love this, so let me take your hand, and we can dance around where the Christmas tree, drinking red wine all week. Said my lovely, you look so lovely here in the Christmas light. Yeah, the Christmas light. Christmas lights, Christmas lights, Christmas lights, Christmas
It looks like some kind of pasta. It looks so good. Thank you. I love you for that. I love the roses too. I love the flowers. I love the flowers. I love the flowers. I'm back. They're probably going to copyright my ass. Yes, this is my workstation, but I have workstations all over the place. Christmas is you. Mariah Carey. For Christmas is you. Okay. So, okay, stop. Alexa, Siri, whoever you are, just stop. Oh my God, life is so hard. So anyway, I had to go in there and get my tablet, and I had to bring my tablet here because guess what? I go in there and talk to hubby. Hubby's awake. He's watching his thing on TV, and he's watching me too, which is so awesome. So I'm going to play. Why are we going through this? Michael Dana, thanks to Michael Dana for giving me an update on what our government is going through. They're shutting the government down. I go in there and said, Andre, Michael Dana said they shut it down. He go, oh yeah, they are. What? Okay. I'm going to play right now that information. You know, I got to put stuff on my lips because the lighting hurts my lips. And plus, I want to look pretty, but that's the main reason. Lola sent this to me. It's made out of a, what's it called? Something orange. Something, blood orange. It's blood orange. And it has aloe vera and natural ingredients in it that helps saves my life when I got the light right on me. So yeah, I think I'm already beautiful. I know I'm already beautiful. However, that helps my lips under the light. Let's get this going. Let's see what the heck is going on with our government. Dang it.
Out front tonight, we begin with the breaking news. Elon Musk's government shutdown. A sentence that a year ago would have seemed completely bizarre. But not now, not after images like that. Because the man who has been by Trump's side nearly every day since the election and since that moment at a rally is pushing the country to the brink of a shutdown. He is going after the House Speaker's funding deal just days before the deadline. Speaker Mike Johnson has spent weeks negotiating a deal with Democrats, doing what lawmakers are doing, horse trading, negotiating. And of course, he needs Democrat support to pass anything in the closely divided House that he faces. And it was Musk who stood up and said, no way, firing the first shot. Just hours after Johnson released his bill, Musk posted this on his social media platform. This bill should not pass. And then he posted a photo of the bill with the caption, ever seen a bigger piece of pork? Then he posted, the more I learn, the more obvious it becomes that this spending bill is a crime. And a threat, quote, any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in 2 years. Well, he has the money to primary them, doesn't he? Then he posted again, no bill should be passed Congress until January 20th when real Donald Trump takes office. None. Zero. Well, that, of course, definitionally means a shutdown. You can't move the dates on some of these things, and a long one. The deadline to pass the spending bill is this Friday at midnight. That's a full month before Trump takes office. And on a day when the Dow plunged more than 1,100 points and marked the longest losing streak since 1974, let's just be loud and clear who's in the driver's seat here. It's Elon Musk. He posted first at 4:15 a.m. Eastern time. In fact, he posted and reposted about this bill more than 70 times before Trump even weighed in.
It's more than 70 times.
Trump followed Musk in a major
Mike
way.
Aldana says Speaker Mike Johnson's having problems controlling the House, his own party.
In a statement, Republicans must get smart and tough. If Democrats threaten to shut down the government unless we give them everything they want and call their bluff. He went on to say this chaos would not be happening if we had a real president. We will in 32 days. Well, of course, whatever you think of the bill itself and the ugliness of government, it's a fair conversation. Nonetheless, there are laws and there are rules and there is a deadline for a spending bill. And the reason that there is this sudden chaos is because of Musk and his last minute move to undermine Johnson. And again, we should note it is Trump and Musk, not Democrats or House Republicans, who are threatening the shutdown by killing the bill. And we've seen Musk's influence on Trump take hold right before our eyes, right? Smack in the middle of Trump and his running mate at the high-profile Army Navy. I mean, it's almost like an AI image and someone keeps plastering him in the middle, except for this is actually real photos. And don't forget, Trump and Musk were together. Musk joined the family photo for Trump on the election night victory. Trump's granddaughter posted a photo with him, calling him an uncle. He was even seated right next to Trump at Thanksgiving dinner, swaying to the YMCA song. But tonight, some of these images, which then seemed funny, take on a more somber tone as the clock clicks down to a shutdown. And Speaker Mike Johnson, who was being responsible as the Speaker of the House Republican, is running out of options. Let's get straight to Manu Raju on Capitol Hill. And Manu, a stunning turn of events. Elon Musk, 4:15 a.m. or whatever time zone he's on, he could have been even earlier in the night. Posts, 70 posts go by, Trump weighs in, and wow, here we are. What are you hearing now?
Yeah, the United States Congress is in an absolute state of disarray in the aftermath of Donald Trump blowing up this carefully negotiated compromise to avoid a government shutdown by week's end. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, had spent weeks behind closed doors cutting a deal with Democratic leaders who control the Senate, who still control the White House, trying to come up with this deal to avoid a government shutdown. But Donald Trump coming in late in the aftermath of Elon Musk's opposition and saying not only should this bill not pass, but they should add the highly toxic issue of raising the national debt limit as part of it, simply because he does not want to deal with the debt limit when he is president.
Texas Republican Chip Roy went off against House Republicans when the bipartisan bill was killed, Mike Aldana says.
It's unclear how this proceeds. This all comes as Johnson is facing significant pushback, particularly as he tries to get the votes to become Speaker of the House come January 3rd. Some Republicans say his handling of this is a reason why they may not vote for him.
So you won't vote for him? He does not have my vote. Will you change your mind?
Kentucky Representative Thomas Massey.
We just won the elections. We have a mandate, and he's giving away the farm. He's turned this thing into a Christmas tree.
I'm wondering why we have control of Congress if we're not going to do what we say we're going to do.
Do you think the Speaker, given the way he's handled this, deserves to be reelected on January 3rd?
I think there's going to be debate on it. If we're not careful, we'll be having some serious debate.
And there's very little margin for error from Johnson in the narrowly divided House. He can only lose a handful of votes in order to become reelected Speaker. But that is one issue that is kind of driving some of this that's happening on Capitol Hill right now. Johnson losing support, potentially we'll see even from Donald Trump. Aaron, I'm told by Senator Josh Hawley tonight that Trump called Hawley and railed on Johnson's handling of this bill as well, contended he was blindsided, even as Johnson's allies said they've been coordinating with the Trump transition team all around. So a lot of finger pointing as Congress in a state of disarray and panic to avoid a shutdown by week's end.
All right, Manu, thank you very much. Disarray and panic. Who was it that said chaos follows? Oh, it was Nikki Haley. All right, everyone's here with me now. Former Congressman Charlie Dent. And lest anyone think, Congressman, that you are in the witness protection program, I just want everyone to know
Witness protection.
that it's the holiday season and you're stuck in traffic. And I'm sad you're not sitting next to me, but there you are. So you're looking very all dressed here to come on set. But let's go ahead and start with where we are. 70 posts from Elon Musk. 70. Starting at 4:15
70
a.m.
posts.
Stirring this up. Trump weighs in finally, and here we are, chaos and disarray. What do you think's happening here?
Well, this is governmental dysfunction. These are exhibits A, B, C, D, and F. What's happening here is that Donald Trump and the hardliners in the House Republican Conference wanted to kick these appropriations bills into the new year. They got their wish, and they're going to fund the government until about March the 13th or 14th. And now Elon Musk and Donald Trump don't want to do that. They've changed their minds. This is a funding bill that's just simply going to fund the government at current levels. Yes, there's a cost of living adjustment for congressmen, and there's some other things in here too. There's some phony business about Liz Cheney, but it makes no sense. They should have simply passed the 12 appropriations bills before Christmas, like many of the Republican appropriators wanted to do in the House and the Senate. But it was Donald Trump and the hardliners in the House Republican Conference who wanted to kick it in the new year. Now they don't. And frankly, many of them are not going to vote for a continuing resolution anyway. So they take advice and input from the very people who won't vote for the bill that must pass. This is gobsmackingly stupid.
It is an incredible moment. By the way, you mentioned the Liz Cheney thing in there. There is something going after Liz Cheney saying she broke the law. I'm going to get to that in a moment, actually. Former spokesperson for her will be here. But Vivian Salama, can I just ask you, because I know you're covering the Trump transition for the Wall Street Journal and you've been breaking so much news. Musk goes ahead of Trump on this funding bill publicly, and significantly so. He is a leader here in the charge against it. 70 posts, 12 hours between his first post and Trump finally weighing in. How risky of a game is Musk playing?
It's incredibly risky. And amazingly, his advisors have been remarkably silent on why it took Donald Trump or even Vice President-elect J.D. Vance so long to weigh in on this issue. Whereas Elon Musk, as you were saying, was tweeting all day long about this, as was Vivek Ramaswamy, the two men who are leading the Department of Government Efficiency coming into this next administration. And so it is very unusual to see close advisors to Donald Trump getting ahead of him on critical issues like this. But also, whether or not there was any coordination in advance, advisors told us that they did kind of receive Trump's blessing, that they were on the same page, but they really couldn't give much more of an explanation as to why Elon Musk was just kind of going full-throated, rejection of the bill so early on without us hearing from Trump. And so he is definitely playing a risky game. Donald Trump typically likes to kind of be his own spokesman. We know that. I happen to cover his first White House, and so we saw that play out, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out too.
I mean, Karen, it will be interesting because when Icarus flew too close to the sun, but this is a very fascinating moment, right? You've got chaos, as Manu was describing it on Capitol Hill, chaos, right? Complete and utter disarray, and that utter disarray is because of Elon Musk.
Because of Elon Musk and because of Donald Trump. And I'm going to say something that I'm predicting right now. I'm going to get to say maybe 100 times before Donald Trump is out of office. We told you so. Democrats predicted that
F around and find out.
Exactly. That Donald Trump was going to bring chaos. And to the point that was just made. So you have two unelected corporate billionaires basically driving the decision about what's going to happen with our budget, whether or not to default and to whether or not to raise the debt ceiling, whether or not to, miss the deadlines, and we won't have air traffic controllers, and we won't have, all the government functions. And, I have to believe that Americans are asking themselves, wait a second, that's not what we voted for. And Trump has already said he doesn't know he can do the one thing that they did say they wanted, which was lower costs.
Well, I found something else too that I want to show. I have not been up on the news. Andre said he saw this. He knew it, thanks to Mike Aldana. Where's,
For. And Trump has already said he doesn't.
I'm trying to get out of this. Okay.
Well, just in
Thanks to
time for
Mike Aldana
Christmas,
for updating me.
Republicans are freaking out on Capitol Hill because Elon Musk, the co-president elect, came out against the continuing resolution that would fund the government for the next 3 months. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said, hey, we need to get this done. It includes a 1,500-page document. It includes a number of different things, including pay raises for a member of Congress. They could go from $174,000 to $243,000. Well, Republicans are going crazy, pushing back, saying this is not what we were sent here to do. Now, J.D. Vance, of course, who is Trump's sidekick, is weighing in as well. And House Speaker, I'm sure Hakeem of Jeffries, the Democrat minority leader, is like, don't look at me. I can't help your ass out. So this is what happens when you let the crazies in charge. Got to go to my panel right now. Julia Malvo, economist, president emerita of Bennett College, author out of D.C., Scott Bolden, lawyer here in D.C. Glad to have both of you here. What did I say, Julian? I said, for the next 4 years, I'm going to be playing at every juncture Scarface's song, No Tears, because these Republicans are absolutely crazy and stupid. And I said, allow them to do what they do, and you're going to see it. Now, here's the problem. They have a very narrow majority right now. It gets even smaller in January. It's simply going to be 3 votes. And so Speaker Johnson, he may not even be elected speaker. And so the chaos is going to continue. And so, hey, if they want to let Elon Musk run the whole show, by all means,
I think they're going to get rid of Mike Johnson. I know.
By the way, stock market today dropped 1,100 points.
He ain't a part of that MAGA circle. You know?
Idiots is the right word, Roland. This is the most ridiculous nonsense. Mike Johnson just try to get a deal. The deal that he got isn't perfect from anybody's perspective, but we have to have the $100 billion in disaster relief. Asheville, other parts of North Carolina, and other places that were hit by Helene and also Milton have not recovered and need the resources. And it's Christmas time. I mean, some of these people are still living in tents in their cars. And then we're looking at the farmers. And although, we still don't believe that Black farmers are treated well, we do know that COVID and the supply chain issues have affected farmers poorly. And what Johnson did was usually those farm states are Republican states, got them and got some Democrats. And I thought we had a continuing resolution. I do not understand. Well, we know what happened. Elon Musk purchased his co-presidency. He purchased it with all the money he put into the Orange Man's campaign. So, but it's mind-boggling if you have a mind, and if you don't, it's business as usual. And they basically are doing their business as usual. But this affects the American people. If you shut the government down, who doesn't get paid? There's a question. And what percentage of those people are African American? There's another question. If you shut the government down, how do social security checks get processed? And we can just go down the list of questions that we have about what happens when government shuts down. So they don't care, though. They don't care. Elon Musk sees government as a profit center. His bond with Trump is that they both see government as a profit center. In other words, Elon Musk has billions of dollars of contracts with the United States government. He won't get his check either, but he won't miss it. So you're absolutely right. Let the sideshow begin. Because it is a sideshow, unfortunately, under the big tent.
So, Scott, here's the deal. Go to my iPad. This is from Politico. Speaker Johnson weighs spending Plan B as Elon Musk stokes opposition. We're looking at a called clean funding package, and here's the deal. They would drop $100 billion in disaster aid, plus $30 billion for farmers and a 1-year extension of the farm bill. So you know what? It's going to be a whole bunch of folks in those red states who are looking for disaster relief, can't get it now, and those farmers. And that's where, I'm sorry, they voted for his dumb ass. This is what they get. And so it's going to be a lot more of this.
I'm laughing not because it's funny.
And so Democrats,
I'm not laughing
if I'm Hakeem Jeffries, this is what I do. Don't come look at me. Go talk to them. I'm good. Nah, this what y'all wanted. Don't come holler at me. I'm not gonna save your ass.
You voted for America. That means you bought it, right? Now you deal with it, right? You own it, as we say. And watch two relationships that over the next 4 years, especially the first two. Two relationships you're going to have to really focus on, and you're going to be doing commentary on, is the relationship between Trump and Musk and how long that lasts. Because Musk believes he owns the government and the White House right now after investing over $100 million in buying it with Trump. And then the second relationship, based on the economy, the tariffs, these continuing resolution deals that may get killed ultimately in the House. That relationship between MAGA and Republicans, elected officials and voters, right? The economy and Donald Trump, because he owns it now. He owns the economy. He can't blame Biden. He can't blame Barack. He can't blame anyone else. So now it's on his watch, right? That relationship is going to go south, in my opinion, if this economy doesn't keep moving forward like it has on the Biden administration. But more importantly, you see the stock market going down. The stock market doesn't care about Donald Trump. It cares about its money. And so those two relationships that I just spoke of are what's at risk every day once the Republicans take over. And so watch that. You'll be doing a lot of commentary on it, right? And that's how we win in 2 years. Hopefully, with the right candidate, that's how we win in 4 years. And I'm talking about the Democrats getting democracy back.
This is the article says this here. Hold on 1 second. The article says switching to a clean spending bill won't totally solve Johnson's problems. He'll still need help from Democrats to pass even a clean stopgap bill. Some conservatives still won't vote for it, even without the add-ons. And I'm sorry, this is where if I'm Democrats, I go, no, Johnson, you got more than 218 votes on your side. You pass it. Don't come begging at me. And again, let me be clear. I understand people watching may say, yeah, but damn, that's going to be cold-blooded because it's going to impact folks. It could cause checks to stop. I understand that.
Right.
But again, since a majority of Americans decided they did not want Vice President Kamala Harris, they did not want Democrats, they did not want to reward the people who fixed this economy and got it back, and they want to reward the people who tanked it, that's where you say, nah, boo, it's on you.
Right.
No, boo, it's on you.
It's amusing and not at the same time to watch some of this. Until very recently, these Trump voters said it was about the economy because he said he was going to bring prices down. Now, early last week, this week, he said, oh, I can't do that. Prices are not going to come down. Well, how did they believe? They believed him, and now they're going to have a big surprise because prices are going up. Everything about everything he's promised to do is going to raise prices. Deportations will raise prices. Americans are not going to go out there and pick that lettuce. So that the deportations will raise prices. Tariffs are inflationary. The very small rate cut that we experienced today from the Fed raises issues, and they have said already, we're not going to do this again. They had 3 rate cuts this year. They said they'll only have 2 next year. They were projecting 4. So they are concerned about the economy, although the Fed tries not to meddle in politics, and so they're not going to say very much. But they said plenty when they say we're only going to raise lower rates twice. And what they said, Dow Jones heard, and therefore you saw that stock drop. So the people who believe that man are going to get what they believed in. Unfortunately, the rest of us who did not believe that man and still have to eat and live and do all that, we're gonna feel it too. People are gonna feel it. But perhaps, as A. Scott says, if they feel it enough in 2 years, we can at least take back the House.
Well, and so again, Donald Trump posted this ridiculous statement, him and J.D. Vance on Truth Social. It's a whole bunch of crap. He talked about Congress is going to consider a spending bill that would give sweetheart provisions for government censors and for Liz Cheney and blow. And then you see this right here. Then they claim will make it easier to hide the records of the corrupt January 6th committee, and on and on and on. Increasing the debt ceiling is not great, but we'd rather do it on Biden's watch. If Democrats won't cooperate on the debt ceiling now, what makes anyone think they would do it in June during our administration? Let's have this debate now. We should pass a streamlined spending bill that doesn't give Chuck Schumer and the Democrats everything they want. And so then he goes, Republicans want to support our farmers, pay for disaster relief, and set our country up for success in 2025. The only way to do that is with a temporary funding bill without Democratic giveaways, combined with an increase in the debt ceiling. Anything else to betray our country. The reality, Scott, is Donald Trump increased the debt by 25% when he was there before. And so they're a bunch of liars. And I'm telling you, this is where I would say Democrats say, man, don't even come talk to us.
Right.
Don't even come talk to us.
Right.
Listen, come January, the Republicans will have a 3-vote margin in the House. They're going to have a 6-vote margin in the Senate. Now, nothing can get out of the House unless Republicans pass it. And this is where, if I'm Hakeem Jeffries, I tell my 215, chill. We ain't doing nothing for y'all. No, you go work your side and get all the votes. Because whatever y'all want to pass, this on y'all. Go right ahead. So when Trump's tax cuts, when that comes up, they want to make them permanent, it's going to jack up the debt. Right. And then they want to cut all sorts of programs. That's when you sit there and say, go right ahead. Knock yourself out, go right ahead. And when all these folk in these red states start whining and complaining about not getting services, that's when you say, I'm sorry, it's above me now. You need to call Johnson. You need to call Johnson. You need to call Thune. You need to call Trump. Don't call us, because this is what y'all wanted. Y'all want it crazy.
They want the Democrats to fix the Republicans' mess.
Now you got them.
When they are desperate, because they feel entitled that Democrats should fix their mess.
To even ask for any help or support from the Dem. That's complete bullshit. And just ain't gonna hear it. The other thing is,
I didn't say that, Santa.
I'm gonna blame after January 20th or 21st when the prices on groceries and gas don't go down, when the prices on oil go up, when he can't stop the 2 wars, as he says on day one. Who's he going to blame when he
he's going to blame Democrats because they like the lie.
Gives pardons to the disruptors who attacked the Capitol in 2020. You see, the blame game only goes so far, and he'll lie and try to. How long will his supporters, either in the House or Senate, or the MAGA supporters, as the economy gets worse and worse under his leadership, who is he going to find to blame? What more lies is he going to tell until the 10 red states who get the most entitlements in this country, or the senators and House of Representatives, feel empowered because they can't win with Trump in 2 to 4 years? They got to figure out a way to win without him as well as without his money. They can't do that if this economy is going south and he's not fixing it. And historically, we know the Republicans don't have the ability, political or business or economic ability, to deliver a strong economy. Only the Democrats do that after cleaning up the Republicans' mess, historically going back to, I guess, 1965. So we'll see. Those are real issues we got to watch and look at.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase.
Isaac Hayes, that's the son.
Next generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help.
Well, thank you for the update, Mike Aldana. I wanted to play something else Mike Aldana sent me too. See if I can find it. Elon Musk. Oh, God. See if I can find it. Elon Musk. Oh, God.
Hard to make sure we're in a situation where.
Mr. President, you're going to be at the inauguration. Some union leaders and even some kind of rank and file workers ended up voting for the other guy. How do you square that? Do you think you reach a deal in Gaza before retirement as you prepare to leave the White House? Any other regrets that you have? Anything you wish you would have done differently? His rhetoric, what he's done, what he's threatened.
That's not America. That's not who that we are. We're not going away. I'm not going away.
I'm Ben Mycelis from the Midas Touch Network, reporting from
I'm a subscriber to him. I like him a lot.
Wing of the White House. That's right. We have a very special interview for you today with President Joseph Biden. We will talk about his time in the White House. We will talk about his legacy. We will talk about what he intends to do in the future. We will talk about what is NATO, our NATO allies, saying to him. We will address all of that and more on the Midas Touch Network. Mr. President, I want to thank you for this interview today.
Well, he's got a
And
big
we're
interview.
here in the Roosevelt Room right now, in the West Wing of the White House. You have a few more weeks here in the White House. And so as you look back over the past 4 years, what do you believe are your biggest accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Well, when I ran, I said I was going to try to do 3 things. Restore some integrity to the office, bring back a sense of focus on the needs of ordinary people, and try to unite the country. So that's what I've done. I've tried to do. In 4 years, we've accomplished a lot. I mean, it hadn't trickled down to every single person yet, but we're in a situation where we have the strongest economy in the world by any measure. For example, we made sure that we got ourselves in a situation where we wanted to get results immediately. So I started working on things I thought were most consequential. How can we lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world, the best ports, airports, etc., roads, highways, transportation, electric connectivity? How can we lead the world if we're not dealing with the single greatest threat to humanity, the emergence of climate change? We go above 1.5 degrees Celsius, we're in real trouble. Our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren are in real trouble. And if we can't move in a direction of seeing to it that we take care of the people who are most in need, for example, the idea that we charge so much for prescription drugs in America. I could take any one of you guys who have a prescription from any American drug company, put you in Air Force One and fly to any of 10 cities in America, in the world. I get you the same exact drugs from a drugstore, quote unquote, in those countries that is 40, 60% less. The only protected entity was Medicare could not negotiate with drug companies. I also think it was really important that we do something about, 1% of the population is defending 99% of us. And we weren't taking care of our veterans we had to. So that's why I worked so hard to make sure we're in a situation where we provided for the opportunity for the veterans to be cared for and their families to be cared for. We fundamentally changed that. And we also moved in the direction of making sure that we're in a situation where we provide for opportunities in education and provide for opportunities to deal with the things that ordinary people have a shot of being able to do. And I guess maybe one of the big things we've done, we've attracted $1 trillion off the sidelines to be invested in America, buying American. And so, for example, we invented that little computer chip. We made it more sophisticated. Well, when we found out that corporations were exporting the manufacture, those the cheapest labor around the world. But then guess what? When COVID hit and those outfits shut down because of illness over in the Far East, well, guess what? We found out we need 300 to build an automobile. We found out so on and so forth. We're in real trouble. So I decided to change that to make sure we were part of the supply chain. We were the beginning of the supply chain. And all that has resulted in real significant economic growth that hasn't yet gone to all the people because it takes time to get it up and running. But those are the things I focused on first.
And look, you mentioned all of these accomplishments that you just listed, and you focused on bottom-up, middle-out economics to help workers. Infrastructure Act, Inflation Reduction Act created over 16 million jobs more than any president. But here's the thing, though, and I really want to get your insight on. Some union leaders and even some kind of rank-and-file workers ended up voting for the other guy with all of the benefits you delivered. How do you square that?
Well, not many did, by the way, number one. Number two, I think that it's hard to translate.
He said not many did.
I think the one thing that I should have spent more time talking about is these things are going to take time to be put in place. For example, when we decide that we're going to build a computer chip factory outside of Columbus, we're going to invest billions of dollars in construction of that facility. Well, all the jobs are going to be created by the construction needed to do it. And then there's what they call fabs, these great big things, twice the size of football fields, where people are going to be making these computer chips. And guess what? The average salary is going to be $102,000. And you don't need a college degree. It's going to fundamentally change the community. But the problem is it's going to take time to get them up and going. The same with almost all the stuff we've done. And so I think the failure to connect between what's happening to the economy as a whole and what's going to happen to the middle-class Americans as a consequence of what we've done is going to take a little bit of time.
What are you going to do when the other guy, those out there bragging about accomplishments under you, the Medicare $2,000 cap? It's going to kick in 2025. And he's going to be out there saying, I did this.
Right.
How's that going to make you feel when that happens?
Look, if it continues to benefit the American, look, I've invested more in red states than in blue states. All of these programs we just talked about. And the reason for that was the red states didn't operate very well, and they really hurt their constituents. So those factories closed and the like. The fact is that I represent all of America, not just Democrats. And I think what it's going to do is going to bring the country more together than separate it. And for example, you already have folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others saying, don't.
So glad to see you, Recess.
After talking about the proposal that we're going to build that, it was the worst idea anybody's ever had. She didn't vote for it. So I think there's going to be a bit of a comeuppance here. But the bottom line is, I'm convinced that over time, the American public will respond to what is the intention of the party to try to help ordinary people. And the fundamental change I made, and I made a speech at Brookings Institution about it recently, was on the economy. The fact is that we had a long time this idea of trickle-down economics. Let the wealthy do very, very well. They'll have so much money, they'll trickle down on people's kitchen tables and coffee tables and the like, and everyone will benefit. I've never bought that theory. And so what I decided to do was to change it to build the economy from the middle out and the bottom up. Wealthy still do very well, but the middle class and working class people do much, much better. And that's exactly what's happening. And so I think the long-term prospects for the country are very good.
Let's talk about foreign policy. Our NATO allies, what are they saying to you right now? You know, Trump's out there threatening allies. Mexico is threatening Canada with tariffs. Obviously, NATO countries very concerned right now. Are we going to stand up to Putin in 2025 the way you did? What are they saying to you? And
well, look, for your audience, there's these various organizations like the G7, the leaders of 7 European nations and the like, G20, all these. And I've attended all this. The only advantage being the old guy in the presidency, I have more experience in this than anybody else does. And I've known all these folks. And one of the things that we've done was, they've said to me at the end of these meetings, come on, you can't walk away from this. Our democracy depends on it. Well, they're concerned. And they're concerned whether Trump's going to do some of the foolhardy stuff he says he wants to do. These extreme tariffs, which are going to cost American taxing the American taxpayer, dealing with not supporting Ukraine by letting Russia have its way, moving in a direction where we walk away from. Look, I was able to expand NATO, expand it, not just maintain it.
I don't know.
Bring it back and expand it. You know, Henry Kissinger called me 10 days before he passed away to say, Joe, not since Napoleon has Europe not looked over its shoulder at Russia with dread until now. Well, I was able to convince 2 countries, Sweden and a country with an 800-mile border,
checking. Yeah, let me know.
Border, to
Probably
join
did.
NATO. And so it's a stronger organization.
Yeah.
But we've got to demonstrate that we're prepared to continue to do our part. And I think that the vast majority of the members of the Congress, even among Republicans, think that. So I doubt whether the president's going to be able to walk away from those commitments.
You're going to be at the inauguration.
Of course I am. Only president ever to avoid an inauguration was the guy that's about to be inaugurated.
That's what I want to talk about, because he obviously did not make the transition easy for you, would be putting it as delicately as I can. You've made the transition smooth. You've invited him to the White House. How do you square that with his rhetoric, what he's done, what he's threatened, to invite him here, sit him in the Oval, smile? How do you do that, and why?
Well,
Right.
because it's who we are as a nation. It's how we're supposed to be. The fact that he doesn't abide by the rules of the democracy we've established is not my concern. My job is to make a transition workable and available, and make sure. And he's beginning to adjust to it. He's beginning now to say to do background checks for his people and so on and so forth. The bottom line is that we can't keep this up. We can't keep up this childish game of walking away when you don't agree, not cooperating. Depending who you talk to, and I talk to a lot of Republicans, somewhere between, mostly would say 30% of the Republican Party is the MAGA Republicans now. And they are the Republican Party now. It's going to be interesting to watch what happens to the Republican Party if he tries to implement some of the things he said he was going to do. But it's important. The democratic institutions are consequential. We're the most unique nation in the world. Every of the nations come about as a consequence of ethnicity, religion, geography. We're the only one built on an idea. The idea is we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal, etc. We've never fully lived up to it. We've never walked away from it. And we have to keep in faith with that notion, even if the guy that's about to take office has a different view.
Let's talk about the media coverage of your presidency. We talked about all of these accomplishments, but very rarely did you turn on the TV and hear about 16 million jobs. Very rarely did you hear about the Biden stock market up 50% from Trump. You weren't out there bragging about your stock market. I mean, the other guy would be doing that every day. Yours was up 50%, 55%. So what's your overall view of, I think, the media coverage? Do you think there's anything you could have done differently in interacting with them? What's your overall perspective on that? Were they too busy covering the horse race of politics?
Well, I think it's... you and your crew here would know much better than I would, but I think the media's changed drastically. Not bad or good, just changed in a fundamental way. When you read that only, something like 6-7% of people under the age of 25 read a newspaper to get their news, so on and so forth. It's technology is changing everything. And I think your guys are extremely successful because you speak to what is a truth. You say, this is what I think the facts are, and you lay it out, and you speak to it. But it's hard to, there are very few editors anymore. There are very few editors saying you can't write that. Or you have billionaires buying standard newspapers that are well known and saying, we're not going to do that anymore. We're not, because I don't want to do it. So I think it's going to take a while for this to sort out.
What are you working on right now that you hope to accomplish before the end of your term? Is there one thing that you're hoping to get done?
Well, there's a couple things I want to get done. And for example, we're in a situation right now where we should be providing for the funding to make a transition to deal with some of the issues that relate to women's issues. For example, on women's health, dealing with issues relating to whether or not we're going to, we should be passing the ERA. There's a consensus for it. We should be dealing. There's a lot of things we should be doing, but we just got to keep talking about them. I don't know that they'll get done before I leave, but I got a lot done in terms of dealing with issues relating to the urgent needs of the moment. For example, the idea that all those folks who were sent to jail for drug charges that have subsequently been fundamentally changed and are lower, why should they still be in jail for the same charge? So there's a whole lot of things we're changing in the near term that will provide for greater equity and fairness. I want people to look at my government and say, my government's fair. My government's being fair. They're being decent. They're working in a way that benefits everybody. And so there's a lot of things and I'm not going away. I'm not no longer going to be president.
My next question.
I'm going to be deeply involved in matters. For example, when I got elected, we weren't even part of the deal trying to deal with international concern about the environment. So we joined the group that said of the world, we were one of the few major nations out of that group that said that if you let the temperature go above 1.5 degrees Celsius, it's over. It's over. It's the only existential threat to humanity. Well, I'm going to continue to work very hard on environmental issues, and even for example, when I was deciding to run for president, I hadn't formally announced my plan on the environment because I wanted to sit down, even though I had a long record on the environment. I want to sit down with union guys. When I think environment, I think jobs. I don't think restrictions on jobs. It's jobs. Creating thousands of good paying jobs dealing with environmental concerns. And so once the IBEW notice came along and said, oh, okay, we're changing our view. Because remember, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, unions thought environment, that's cost us jobs. It's the exact opposite is happening. So what we try to do is focus on the things that are going to have the longest term impact on the security and stability of my country, my children, my grandchildren, and not mine, all children and grandchildren. And I think we're doing that, and it's starting to take hold.
Let me ask you this: as you prepare to leave the White House, any other regrets that you have? Anything you wish you would have done differently?
Well, I guess if I thought a lot about it, it'd be something I've specifically done, but not generically. I set out to do two things: restore America's leadership in the world. I think we've done that. And two, to generate opportunity for ordinary people to have a shot in the economy. And I think we've done that as well. And so we've changed the sort of measure for how to build an economy from the middle out and the bottom up rather than the top down. And we've worked in a situation where we've once again reestablished our leadership in the world. I always ask people a rhetorical question. If America is not leading the world, who's going to lead it? Who?
Right.
What country has the capacity?
Right.
And so we have an obligation and an opportunity to make the world better for everybody. But without being, and by the way, look what we've done. We've changed the dynamic in Europe. We're in the process, God willing, and if my effort goes through with what's going on in Gaza and the Middle East, we may have an agreement there. Look what's happening in the Pacific, and particularly in the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea. Well, guess what? We have a group now, Asia, and India, Japan, Australia, United States, a quad that is bringing stability to that region of the world.
Do you think you reach a deal in Gaza before your term ends?
I hope so. I think so. But you never know.
What do you say to Americans who are understandably very nervous right now, who didn't vote for the other guy, who are fearful of the threats, the rhetoric, the idea of retribution? What do you say to them who are looking at you, who admired your work? And what do you say to them right now who are watching?
We've got to stay involved. We've got to keep fighting.
Stay involved.
We've got to make clear
Vote.
We're not going away. We're not going away. I'm not going away. I'm going to be deeply involved in the environment. We're deeply involved in foreign policy, deeply involved in all the things I've been involved in before. There's a whole lot of people too that are doing that, and I'm not. This is not appropriate for me to be asking you questions, but think about what decisions you have to make to be get the kind of listenership and followership you have. And how do other entities do that? And tell the truth like you do. It's about finding ways to communicate with people that are so different than existed even 10 years ago. And it's a moment of transition. I know I drive my friends crazy. I keep talking about major inflection points in American history and world history. But every 6 or 7 decades, something changes in consequence that
every 10 years.
Significant shift in the way people look at things. And look what global warming has done. Early on, I met with Putin when I first got elected, and he talked about global warming wasn't a problem. I said, it's not. Russia's in 8 time zones around the Arctic Circle. Guess what? It's melting. And methane is coming out of the ground. What are you going to do about that? Well, I'm not sure what to do. That's why we have to work with countries, even though we have different views on many fundamental things. We can disagree with them, but we can still work on the things that affect all humanity, like global warming.
You've said before that Project 2025 would cause major economic harm. It's in contrast to your bottom up, middle out. How dangerous do you think Project 2025 is? And
it's devastating. I think if Project 2025 came along, and you know how many thousands of government employees they want to cut, how many changes they want to make in terms of what we can do and not do. I mean, it's an extreme policy written by an extreme group, and I don't think it can take hold.
So you were the youngest senator.
Now the oldest president.
I didn't say it.
You're very nice.
I didn't say it. What's that been like? Having those two perspectives?
Well, it's been interesting. When I first got elected, I was 29 years old. You have to be 30 to be sworn in. I got elected when I was 29, didn't turn 30 until 17 days later. And it took time. I used to be stopped going to the Senate elevator room and vote. No. I said, no, I'm a senator too. But what's happened is it's given me an enormous amount of experience in that, ultimately, all politics is personal. It's about building personal relationships. I'll tell you a real quick story. When I was vice president, when things were really starting to fall apart in terms of the way parties are talking to one another, I realized there were a lot of senators I didn't know. I think most people would say I was a fairly successful senator in bipartisan efforts we put together. So I went over to the Senate dining room, not the one where I could take you as a senator and have them sit down and have lunch with you, but where just senators ate with one another. It's right across from the Senate dining room. There's that elevator in the first floor. It's on the left side. You walk in, there's a big buffet table, a big table that seats 18, 20 people, and then there's a perpendicular to that, there's one in the back. Democrats and Republicans sit at different tables. Well, I was convinced by Teddy Kennedy to go over there and go to lunch on a regular basis.
Teddy Kennedy.
You sit there and you learn that the man or woman you're talking to, just had a big fight on the floor with, has a daughter or son who's dying, or a wife who has breast cancer, or he or she has a serious loss. It's hard to dislike someone when you know their problems. You can disagree like hell, but you can still work together. And we've lost that. There's very little communication between Democrats and Republicans who hold office before. And it's hard to get things done that way. I remember I went over, as I said, I was a vice president. I decided I was known for having good relationships in the Senate. So I show up for lunch. There's no dining room there anymore. Just easy chairs. No place a group of Democratic and Republican senators on a regular basis can just sit down and talk, get things done. So we have to. Things become too distant, in my view. And I think it's going to start changing.
Is that one of the things you're going to be working on after you?
He says he thinks it's going to start changing.
And you mentioned some of your plans after you leave.
Well, I've been talking with a lot of Republicans who are either no longer hold office, like I will not, but still are deeply engaged, and those who are in office. And I I think there's ways we can begin to accommodate the changes have to take place that don't have to be so.
So I'm saying all these Republicans are not going to agree with Trump.
I mean, in terms of going after each other, it's about what is it that the American people most want. They want to be able to they want to be able to turn on the television and hear some good news. They want to, I mean, but does that sell anymore? I've talked to a number of your colleagues who are with the major networks over the years, the last 6-7 years. And they talk about how it's hard. It's hard for them to be able to communicate with one another, and they're worried about what they say. Will one party go after them or not? Will there be retribution? And look at all the threats. Look at all the threats that are being made about getting back at people who crossed, who didn't support Trump or didn't support. I mean, I won't go into the names, but all the people what's going on here? That's not America. That's not who the hell we are.
That's reality, though. And, that's reality. I think that's what's happening. What do we do to survive?
To fight against
what do we do to survive? This is reality.
Starting is this with these Republicans that you're talking about? Is there going to be some sort of group that's going to be working towards those goals? Democrats, Republicans, to try to.
Well, there's some working on specific issues together on, but I think it's more about. Continue to make the public case that you should be able to say what you believe without worrying about retribution when you didn't support a particular candidate in your party. And look, that old joke, I don't belong to any organized party. I'm a Democrat. But all kidding aside, that's good. The truth of the matter is, I think that there's a lot of cohesion among the Democrats now, and I think you're gonna see some things change in terms of getting things done that we need to get done.
Hear that?
Without the best education.
So I think we're going to see some things change. Listen to those key words.
Protections in the world. How can you lead the world if you don't have the best infrastructure? And if we don't lead the world, who does? Who does? The rest of the world's looking to us. They're looking to us.
Final question. When history is all told, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be?
I kept my word that when I said I was going to do something, I did. And that my focus has always been about how to give ordinary people a shot. You probably heard me say it before. My dad used to say, Joey, your job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, I'm going to be okay and mean it. It's about being able to be yourself and focus on people who need some help. And the vast majority of the American people, all they want is a chance. Just a chance. And they'll do fine.
You see hope?
I do. I'm hopeful, but when I was years ago when I was a senator, I had last to be vice president, cranial aneurysm, and I remember being wheeled down the operating room. It was a 9-hour operation, and they said the issue was whether aneurysms were congenital or environmental, and I said, Doc, I don't care, just fix it. And after it was all over, my neurosurgeon said, your problem is, Senator, I was a senator then, your problem is you're a congenital optimist. I have enormous faith in the American people to end up doing the right place. I really, really do. We just got to keep fighting.
Mr. President, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you for what you've given this country over the past 4 years, and I really appreciate it.
Wow.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow, Midas touch.
I'm impressed. Shout out to my friend Michael Donna, who sends me incredible emails concerning politics. And he knows that I am very, very busy doing creative content creating. But also, what's cool about it is that let me turn this off. Um, what's great about it, not just cool, what's great about it is that he makes sure that I stay up on what's going on because I'll miss it. Either I'm trying to create content or trying to rest after spending all night. My creating my content is very important to me because to me, I feel it's definitely medicinal. Um, it's my pillows. Uh, and it helps people. That's the number one thing. No doubt. That's the platform. That's my platform, helping people, building community. And so he's so kind with making sure that I don't, that I stay up to date, that I stay informed because it's a lot of information out there. And it's like, I can stay consistent in understanding what our government's going through, which is a possible shutdown pretty quick. And I played how this government shutdown is going to affect all of us. Check out the replay. And I do diverse things in my YouTube channel. I talk about politics in a friendly way. I talk about mental health. I talk about men. I say mental health. I'm talking about doing ASMRs and helping people and talking about trending topics and what's going on in the world today and we talk about race and colorism and we talk about government and we talk about things that will help us live in our reality and how we can deal with those things if they are triggers. How can we make it not a trigger anymore if we come together and can talk about it and can safely discuss things that that will help us find answers so we can live with what we're dealing with because it is a reality. And yeah, I mean, I'm curious about Mary Kay supporting Orange Man. I think she probably did. I pulled out a Mary Kay product. It has an ingredient in it. I've done myself a facial, help my moisturize my skin, my face, my ears, my neck, my back. And I like ordering the Time Wise collection. And it lasts me believe it or not, 2 years. It lasts me a while because I know how to use just a little bit. And what I did after I got lost in the sauce. She got lost in the sauce. This right here is made by Mary Kay. And I've used cortisone. I've used Neosporin. Neosporin is really good, by the way. Let me just tell y'all. It's something I use on a daily basis when it comes to skin. Just skin. So Mary Kay, the Time Wise collection, this one says it's a daytime defender sunscreen, broad spectrum SPF 30 protector for your skin. Let me read some things about it because this is for men and women. The company didn't, but the course of people donated to one over the other. Oh, my hubby said he went into Walmart and, you know, we've been boycotting Walmart, right? Even though hubby did go into the store to get something. I'm like, Andre, you're supposed to be sticking to the boycott. They make the grass tiramisu because I'm the kind of thing I know that there are people there that have nothing to do with the stupidity of politics. But the reason for the boycott that has grown, he said he went into Walmart and it was like empty. But, I mean, it was white people there. Yeah, Walmart, no Walmart exactly. And so what they've done, you all can Google that. They've gotten rid of the diversity programs. And so what I love about the ingredients in here that helps my skin It has active ingredients, which says avrobenzone, octosalate, octosaline, and octosalatine. And it's a complex. It has complex ingredients in it. It's a protector, and it helps you with sun, from sun exposure and all of those toxic elements that are in the air. I have to use this to read. It's one of my best great things I have at my desk here. It's made by TimeWise, and I have the TimeWise antioxidant moisturizer. This is the daytime solution. I get the whole kit. This right here is the nighttime solution you put in when you go to bed. It's a nighttime recovery solution. And I have also the TimeWise 4-in-1 cleanser. It's when I can afford it. Then look at Reese's cup. I buy the whole kit. It's not cheap. But then you have to get to a point that there are some things in life that you must spend a little extra money on when it comes to skin. I haven't used it in a very long time. I'm going through some allergic reactions, which you could tell, some redness here. And I went to the doctor and I got a prescription. And I think my allergic reaction has to do with sour candy. Yes. I haven't eaten any since I've been to the doctor. It has to do with sour candy, the warheads. I was eating too much. So now I'm going through a healing, and it's called extreme sour warheads that I used to eat a bunch of. I don't hardly eat it. I just went through like something during the political season, and it's yummy. So don't sue me. It's so yummy. And oh, really? We heard. So I haven't been eating it. It's here, but no, it's not worth the pain. I've been going through some little things here where I have this big bruise on my arm where I went to the doctor and I got blood work and it put a very bad bruise in my arm. And this is healing. It used to be like a big lump. And this big bruise is where this company that does blood work, she injected, not my doctor's office, but they are contracted to have an office there. And she took my blood work. So she stuck the needle in a place that caused a very bad bruise, a very bad lump. So I've been, stop it. Give it to the neighbors with kids. Then they gonna break out too. I haven't been eating any Reese's cup. I haven't. I think I want to hold on to it until an emergency. But I'm not taking any since I've been to the doctor. And I've been on an antibiotic. See if I can find it. And so the doctor prescribed me an antibiotic, and I wrote on here for lips. I do have a habit of getting a magic marker. I know, naughty. I know, naughty. And it's called triamcinolone, acetone. Triamcinolone acetonide. It's a prescription. And I put it on my lips twice a day. And the ingredients is amazing. It's like I don't know if it's like a steroid in it or something in it. Very mild. But it's weird. Since I've been taking it still, I've been having some kind of uncomfortable allergic reaction to something. And I don't know if in addition, if it's dry along with dry air. So I would need to invest into a humidifier to moisten the air some. I don't usually go through this, but I try to explain to people I did a pillbox ASMR. There's a 4-hour one and there's a 1-minute one, which is fast speed. The 1-minute one, of course. But I did that with 10, it's a 1-minute video that has 10 um, tips on what I suggest when you have prescriptions and or vitamins, because there's people out there that take vitamins and don't take prescriptions. And I did a 4-hour video, not just 4 hours, just talking about that, but the last hour or so, if you want to fast forward through it, I show people my hack that I use in organizing our prescriptions. We get a 90-day supply, and I have a great organization system where I use the older ones first, and I date it, and I use a marker to make things big, because sometimes even with people with perfect eyesight, you can overlook something, and I check the milligrams and make sure the dosage is correct, the name is correct, and I match it with my paperwork that I get, and I actually do find a time where I do look at the paperwork and look at the allergies and stuff. So I think what's happening, since there's dry air and dry climate, and whatever my body's going through is going through some changes. So if you notice, the creams I was using is to battle those elements that's affecting my skin and my face, and just giving it the extra moisturizer, the extra anti inflammatory type, ibuprofen to help with the inflammation. I take an allergy pill. I take vitamin D and all my prescriptions in there. But also, I've been drinking a lot of water and just trying to get my body. It's going through something, and I'm just trying to fight against those elements that are affecting it. So that's what I've been going through. Just doing care while I was listening to Biden talk. Um, I picked out a couple of things. You all could check out the replay and check out some really great things I've talked about. But to highlight what we just recently spoke about is there's two things that jumped out at me. And Biden said, fight, which means that's what they're doing, is fighting. And what jumped out at me was something else he said. I pointed out in my live reaction. That not the part about him hoping that things will get better, which is positive, but you can tell there's some language he used that there's some behind the curtain things that are happening that is going to help us win these 4 years as Democrats, while we have a Republican, Donald Trump, that is going to be sworn in next year, which is next month, right? So there's some key things I picked up, which he didn't say verbatim, but I love language, and I love understanding language and dissecting it. And that's what it sounded like to me, is that there are some things that we need to be very hopeful for, believe, fight, continue voting, register to vote right now. There's more elections that are coming up, local elections, the school board. It's out there. Just go ahead and register right now. It's online, vote.org, and it's free. So what I was sharing too, and I'm going to quickly say this, and then that I end up sharing about this dream. You see my thumbnail, and I share about the darkest nightmare that ended up waking me up in the middle of the night. And Andre heard me in real time, and I screamed out help, and he reached his arm over to touch my side and just rub me and just make me feel good and, relax, because he said, "You're okay. It's okay." I had a nightmare, and I shared. If you all want to, please, I suggest you all rewind, check out the replay once I sign off, and listen to how I dissect, what I felt that was going on, why I dreamt about what I did. And then after that, I described the dream, word for word what I actually dreamed about. And also, I read out in the chat room people's interpretation, what they felt about my dreams. I read that out aloud, and I'm going to convert my voice also into written text where I can copy what I said and file it away, but also share it with you in written form, written text as well. I share quickly about me facing my darkest fears in this intense nightmare scenario or actual dream, and how I was able to overcome my deepest anxieties by having this live tonight. Um, and I was wondering if, when I went live, that helped me not let that consume me. I was also asked the question in the chat room, in what ways were my parents abusive? And I was able to share some things with people in the chat room, what I went through and how that dream and how that dream, I was able to identify what the dream was about, but also identify what happened to me in the past, and also identify why my parents did what they did, and not making excuses for them, but of the times of culture and society and lack of support of intelligent sources back then. I'm not defending them, but I give also answers of ideas and advice on how we can try to find an understanding of the society that our parents grew up with, and if it was extreme, to call that out and to be able to talk about it, and if it was mediocre, call it out, talk about it. And because since I've had a channel for a year, I've been able to come to surface with a lot of things. It'll be a year next January, which is next month. And I'm just taking a whole year to be able to really come full circle to understand what I'm going through and how I'm able to cope. The title of this YouTube live is called Rhonda Fights for Her Voice in a Terrifying Nightmare. Again, the name of it is called Rhonda Fights for Her Voice in a Terrifying Nightmare, where I had a nightmare tonight and I screamed out, "Help." And I break that down. Thank you all so much for being a part of my life. Go back, check out the replay. It's fascinating work. And toward the very end, then I talk about politics, and Mike Aldana updated me and told me about what's going on with the government shutdown. And we covered some things about that and watched some video on that. And welcome everybody who came. Shout out to all of you all. Thank you so much. I love you all. And please go back and check out my replay. And then comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about my dream. Let me know share with me what kind of dreams or interpret my dream, or share with me your dreams, or what do you think about it? Things like that. I love you all and thank you so much. And I'll see you all soon. Thank you.